Chapter 1319. Yu Minmin said, he's leaving on Wednesday. Lin Che said, he's going to Hollywood in the United States. I wonder if he'll meet someone he wants to meet there. Yu Minmin smiled and hugged Lin Che. Are you talking about Ah Bai? Yeah. Yu Minmin said, you're really worried about them. But this still depends on their fate. We've done everything we can. I just hope that Shuiyang can work hard when he arrives. Lin Che thought of something and asked, how long will he be gone this time? It'll probably be a few months. Although he doesn't have many lines and is considered a supporting role, he still has to be filmed from the beginning to the end, so the filming will probably take a long time. Okay. Yu Minmin was planning the next TV series with Xin Yuran. Lin Che saw that Su Wan's name was among the candidates. She couldn't help but think of Gu Jingyu and Su Wan. Although Gu Jingyu didn't specifically say it, the relationship between the two was definitely not as shallow as it seemed. Lin Che took a few more glances and asked, did Su Wan come for the audition? Yeah, you still remember her. Of course I remember. Take a look. I think she's a good person. Okay, I'll listen to you. I'll pay attention to her. Don't say that. I just told you to pay attention. I didn't say you could open the back door. Yu Minmin said, of course I know that. I'm just saying that I believe in your judgment. You're always accurate in judging people. Lin Che said, isn't that because I'm lucky? However, birds of a feather flock together. I think it's because those who can hang out with us are of good character that we can get along well. Yu Minmin felt that this made sense. Then I'll pay attention to Su Wan. Okay. Su Wan actually hadn't received the notice yet. After she came for the audition, the staff told her to go back and wait. The result of going back and waiting was that there was no result. At this time, someone came in from the dormitory. It was Wan Fongfong. She shouted, that's great. I succeeded in the audition at Lin Che's studio. The people in the dormitory heard this and immediately said, really? Congratulations, you're going to be famous. Su Wan turned around and looked at her. She didn't know that her roommates also went to the audition. However, he had already received a reply, but she had not. AI, it seems like someone from our dormitory also went for the audition. After a few people celebrated, they thought of Su Wan. Originally, the relationship between the few people in the dormitory was not particularly bad. Although they were not good friends, they still had things to talk about. But ever since Su Wan was framed by Su Zhan and went against Lin Che's advertisement, she even got on the news because of this. Everyone said that she was scheming behind her back. They weren't convinced that she got on the news so early and started bad-mouthing her behind her back. Later, Su Wan moved out and stayed at Gu Jingyu's place for a while. She really went to Lin Che's production team and everyone started to mock her face to face. Su Wan couldn't explain that she was bullied by Su Zhan until today. Even now, there were still rumors about her everywhere. Su family's eldest miss was now like an illegitimate daughter. Her reputation was terrible and she had no status in the Su family. But Su Zhan snatched her resources, snatched her company spokesperson, snatched her eldest miss identity and snatched all her reputation. Her life in the Su family was getting better and better. All of this started from that year. That boy died because of her. That year she was kidnapped and he went to save her. But who would have thought that in the end she was rescued and he never came back? At that time he was still Su Zhan's boyfriend. But only she knew that at the kidnapper's place he personally said to her, Su Wan, the one I love is you. But I recognized the wrong person at that time, so I confessed wrongly. I didn't know how to explain it to Su Zhan and delayed it until today. When I go back I'll tell everyone that I want to marry you. But in the end he didn't come back. She was the only one who knew this secret. She closed her eyes, picked up her books and went to sit down on her bunk. Hey, I'm asking you a question. Did you also participate in the audition? How come there's no result? Su Wan said, I'm waiting for the results. The few of them burst into laughter. What are you waiting for? It's been so long without any results. It must be none of your business. Io, didn't you show your face last time? Why can't you do it this time? What's going on? Do you even need to ask? It must be because he didn't perform well last time. His acting skills are too bad, so he must have been despised. Su Wan shook hands but did not respond. Lowering her head, she couldn't help but feel vexed. She naturally knew that there wouldn't be any results. After so long they were right. However, he did look forward to it back then. He thought that since he had worked with them once and his performance wasn't that bad, they might be willing to continue working with him. But they didn't. She was a little disappointed. Just as she was sitting there reading, the phone finally rang. Miss Su Wan? Yes, I am. We are from the film crew of City Toppling Beauty. We hope that you can come over and talk to us when you have the time. Soo-won's heart moved. City-toppling beauty was Lin Che's studio's work. Soo-won thought that there wouldn't be any results. The people downstairs were still chatting and didn't notice her. She quickly packed up and prepared to go. She went downstairs but saw Qin Jian walking towards her. There was a woman next to him, leaning against him. Qin Jian's expression didn't look good. He looked calm, but when he saw Soo-won, his calmness turned into anger. He stared at her, seeming to be filled with resentment. Soo-won wasn't happy. She thought about how they used to be good friends, but now they looked at each other with hatred. What? It was all because of Gu Jingyu. Because of Gu Jingyu, seeing Qin Jian walk past, she wanted to say something. However, Qin Jian's gaze was filled with disdain and disgust. He stared at her and snorted. The entire school knew that Qin Jian proposed to Soo-won. But now, Qin Jian was hugging another woman and walking past. What was going on? Everyone looked at this scene and secretly guessed that the woman in Qin Jian's arms also knew about this matter. But because Qin Jian's family was indeed rich and she liked Qin Jian, she quickly got together with him. She didn't care about what happened between him and Soo-won just now at all. Seeing Soo-won next to him, Qin Jian's expression was filled with disgust. She leaned into Qin Jian's embrace. Qin Jian, isn't that your friend? You didn't even greet her. I don't have that kind of friend. That kind of woman doesn't deserve to be my friend. Huh? What kind of woman? She's not as good as you. The woman heard this and leaned into his embrace. She turned around and glanced at Soo-won as if she was showing off. Chapter 13:20. But they didn't know that as soon as they left, because of that conversation, some people guessed what this kind of woman meant. Did Qin Jian sleep with her after proposing and then find out that it wasn't Soo-won's first time? So he broke up in a fit of anger and went their separate ways. Then, he immediately found another woman to make up for it? This kind of rumor spread quickly. At this time, Soo-won had just arrived at the crew's office. The crew said to her, "We're from Qingqing's director team. We just looked at your information and feel that you're not suitable to play the role of the blue butterfly that you auditioned for." Soo-won's heart sank. They just called her here to talk about this problem? But below, after discussing, we feel that you're more suitable for the role of Fence. Fence? Soo-won widened her eyes. She looked at the introduction on the script. Fence was a third female lead who had a lot of scenes. Although she was only a third female lead because she was a good friend of the female lead, there were some emotional scenes. Soo-won stuttered as she looked at the person in front of her in disbelief. "Me? You gave me this role?" "Yeah, that's right." Soo-won was so excited that she couldn't believe it. However, this role did give her something. She left. Yu Minmin looked at her back as she left. She looks pretty good. She should be able to handle this role. But she's actually from Xing Hui's side. Is there a mistake? I heard that she signed a contract but no one supported her at all. There's no difference even if she went. She didn't even get a manager. Okay, let's wait and see for now. We can also take this opportunity to slap Xing Hui's face. Yu Minmin finished speaking and left. Soo-won didn't know that as soon as she returned, she heard rumors about her everywhere in the school. Hey, look, it's her. Io, so shameless. So she's a kept woman. No wonder Qin Jian doesn't want her anymore. Soo-won walked over and heard some discussions. When she looked at those disdainful gazes, her face turned pale. What exactly happened? But she didn't know that in the day she left, the rumors became more and more intense. Some people said that they asked Qin Jian. Because she was a kept woman, she was abandoned by Qin Jian. Qin Jian only said one sentence, saying that he disliked her for being dirty. He didn't say anything else. But there was no need to say anything more. All of a sudden, rumors spread everywhere. She was regarded as a dirty woman who swaggered around and was kept as a mistress. While being kept as a mistress, she also pestered Qin Jian. When Soo-won heard this, she suddenly felt very sad. Qin Jian? Why did he have to do this? Even if they couldn't be friends, there was no need to act like this. Look, it's her. Qin Jian said. When Soo-won heard this voice, she immediately pulled up the person next to her who wanted to speak. The man was startled. You, what are you doing? Where is Qin Jian? I don't know. You said it was Qin Jian who told you. When did Qin Jian tell you that? Where is he? Yes. At the restaurant in front. We're having a meal. Soo-won knew that Qin Jian liked the restaurant in front. It was very high-end. He would occasionally take her there to eat to satisfy her cravings. Soo-won went straight there. As soon as he entered the door, he went straight to the private room inside. It was his favorite private room and he would choose it every time he came. She kicked the door open and the waiter jumped in shock. Qin Jian was kissing that woman inside. The two of them were kissing so much that they forgot everything else. Su Wan's actions scared them so much that they separated from each other, their faces pale. Qin Jian's expression changed when he saw her. He first blushed and then became embarrassed. Su Wan, what are you doing here? The woman was even more furious. Su Wan, don't you have any manners? Su Wan couldn't be bothered to look at the woman and said to Qin Jian, I've been friends with you for so many years. I've always been grateful to you. You treat me really well and take good care of me. I also sincerely get along with you. She really didn't think that one day she and Qin Jian would become like this. Did you forget that we were going for the college entrance exams together? Did you forget that we went out with backpacks? Did you forget that we rehearsed together and didn't eat or drink for a few days? Did you forget that we made a wish together that we would become famous in the future? How can you go around spreading rumors about me? Qin Jian's expression revealed some discomfort and guilt. But in the blink of an eye, it disappeared. He looked at Su Wan resentfully. I spread rumors about you? Hey, if you don't want people to know, then don't do it. Since you've already done it, why are you worried about others finding out? Su Wan pursed her lips. You don't know anything. You don't? The woman looked at Qin Jian's distressed expression. She jumped up and said, Hey, you've already sold yourself out and you still have the nerve to come and reason with us? Who told you to sell yourself out? People say that you're shameless and can do anything for the sake of being famous. So it's true. Hearing this, Qin Jian thought about it and snorted. Seeing this, the woman said, So why do you still want to come here? Don't tell me you still want to rely on our Qin Jian? Did you come here on purpose to see Qin Jian? Did you think that Qin Jian would still want to be friends with you when you're so dirty? What else does he want to do with you? Stop daydreaming. Get out. Don't come and look for Qin Jian anymore. Don't mention how much our Qin Jian despises you. He feels disgusted just by looking at you. Qin Jian, why are you hiding at the back? Why don't you say it yourself? Tell me. What did I do to you? Why are you like this? Su Wan stared at him, wanting him to give her an explanation. Qin Jian looked upset. He really didn't want to be interrogated by her anymore. Because he didn't know what the answer was either. Get someone to throw Su Wan out for me. He immediately ordered. The woman's eyes brightened. She couldn't wait any longer. Okay, right away. She immediately went to call security. The security guard came in. Qin Jian. Su Wan was pulled out angrily. Who knew that at this time? When did you guys have the right to touch my woman? Gu Jingyu walked in. He pushed the security guard aside. Qin Jian froze. He stood up immediately. At the side, the woman was completely stunned. She looked at Gu Jingyu. She didn't think that she would suddenly see her idol here. As for Su Wan, she looked up at this despicable man. He purposely appeared in front of Qin Jian and humiliated him, causing them to break up. But now he was the one who came to help her fight for justice. What was he trying to do? What did he mean by she was his woman? She wasn't. Gu Jingyu, what are you doing here? Su Wan pulled him. Gu Jingyu snorted. He frowned at the disobedient woman and pulled her behind him. Chapter 13:21. Gu Jingyu's powerful figure immediately made the small private room seem even more cramped. Qin Jian gritted his teeth. Gu Jingyu, what are you doing? Gu Jingyu snorted. Did you spread the rumors in school? No. Qin Jian wanted to deny it, but he looked at Su Wan on the side and then looked at the woman next to him. He suddenly changed his words and said, What's wrong? I was the one who said it. Besides, isn't what I said the truth? I'm telling the truth. Why can't I say it? What? Gu Jingyu walked over step by step. His gaze was like a sharp knife. Once it was imprinted, it would leave a cold trail of blood. The deadly gaze made Qin Jian's expression fall to the bottom. The woman who was still arrogant just now was completely silent. She looked at Gu Jingyu with her mouth half open. So scary, Gu Jingyu said, Do I need to explain to you why? Do I need to? Though it was a question, the answer was self-evident. What? Because he was Gu Jingyu. If he forbade it, then he forbade it. No matter if it was the truth or not. If he said he forbade it, then he couldn't say it. But Qin Jian still dared to say why? Gu Jingyu snorted and looked at Qin Jian. That's right. You're right. The rumors are also right. Su Wan is my woman. So what? I said I'm not allowed to say it, so I'm not allowed to say it. It's between my woman and me. It's not up to other people to comment on it. Gu Jingyu looked at him. Are you angry because she didn't choose you? Let me ask you right here. Between you and me, who would she choose? Do you think you can compare to me? She will definitely choose me. And you're just a smelly bug. How dare you covet my woman and speak ill of my woman everywhere? Qin Jian's face felt like it was slapped hard. He looked extremely ugly right now. Gu Jingyu said, I'll give you one day to explain clearly. If I hear anything bad about you, you might not know the consequences. I don't mind letting you experience it. Gu Jingyu was too lazy to touch him and snorted. Qin Jian really wanted to give him a good scolding and give him a good punch, but damn it, he didn't dare. Gu Jingyu was backed by the Gu family, and he was the third son of the Gu family. It was a family that could shake the entire sea country. He didn't dare to. He really didn't know what the consequences would be if he offended someone like him. However, he was sure that he wouldn't be able to bear the consequences, so how could he dare to do so? Gu Jingyu didn't say a word. He pulled Su Wan up and turned to leave. Qin Jian watched as the door slammed shut. He sat there in a daze. The woman on the side was stunned for a moment, then quickly sat down. What? Was that Gu Jingyu? Gu Jingyu is Su Wan's sugar daddy? Qin Jian didn't say anything. He was still standing there in a daze. No way, why is Su Wan so lucky? Good luck? Qin Jian suddenly raised his head. Get out of here. Startled by his fierce expression, the woman subconsciously stepped back a little. But why did she step back? Hey, what are you doing? Why are you venting your anger on me? Humph, if you are not convinced, then go against him. The woman suddenly stood up and walked out angrily. She suddenly felt that Qin Jian was really incompetent. But indeed, who could compare to Gu Jingyu? Any woman would choose Gu Jingyu. Unfortunately, not every woman had Su Wan's luck. Seeing that she was about to leave, Qin Jian suddenly thought of something. Pretend that you didn't see anything today. He didn't want people to know that he couldn't compare to Gu Jingyu. Su Wan didn't get together with him because of this. He felt embarrassed because of his selfishness. The woman turned around with a reluctant look on her face. She really wanted to tell everyone she knew about this big gossip. Qin Jian said, You saw what Gu Jingyu said just now. If you dare to say it, he has 10,000 ways to make you die miserably. If you want to go against the Gu family, then go and say it. When the time comes, I won't be able to protect you. All of a sudden, the woman recalled Gu Jingyu's expression and her heart trembled. She was so resentful. There was such gossip, but could she only hide it in her heart? Su Wan was pulled out by Gu Jingyu. She was practically being dragged. When they were outside, he let go of her and leaned against his car. He didn't care if there was anyone next to him. He casually took out a cigarette and leaned against it, taking a puff. Su Wan looked at him and thought of what he said just now. She turned her face away and said with difficulty, You? Who told you to say whatever you want? I'm your woman, Gu Jingyu said. I said it. So what? What can you do to me? The look in his eyes clearly conveyed this sentence. Su Wan blushed. She gritted her teeth, but she really didn't know what to do to him. She could only tightly purse her lips. What can I do to you? What do you think I can do to you? That's right. You're the third master of the Gu family, the king protected by all the fans. What can I do to you? Her voice deepened as if she was mocking herself. I don't have anything. I'm just an orphan girl that no one wants. I have nothing. What can I do to you? Even if I refuse to be your woman, I have to look at your face. Gu Jingyu lifted his eyelids when he heard this. He threw the cigarette away and pushed her to the side of the car. He looked at her and said, Is being my woman making things so difficult for you? I'm not willing. Isn't that making things difficult for you? Why? I can give you whatever you want. Gu Jingyu didn't understand. Was he worse than Qin Jian? He clearly wasn't, but why wasn't she willing? What I want is a peaceful life. Can you give it to me? Gu Jingyu paused. There was no peaceful life in the Gu family. Plus, did she mean that she wanted him to marry her? That wasn't possible. He let go of her. Su Wan smiled coldly. Then let me go. I've already repaid what I owed you. You should let me go now, right? Saying this, Su Wan pushed him away and turned around. Thank you for helping me just now. Although, you were the one who said it in the beginning. Her side profile was a bit sad. Although it was tough because of him, she seemed to have gotten used to it. He had already gotten used to it. When Lin Che returned home, he heard that Gu Jingza was still talking to Haman. Haman said that he would be coming to Country C during the visit. The entire Sea country was already preparing for Dean's visit. Chapter 1322. At this moment, Lin Che was leaning against the wall and reading the script when he heard the helper say, Madam, young master said that your relative went to the kindergarten to visit him. Lin Che paused and put down the script in his hands. He looked ahead and thought to himself, These people are so shameless that it makes me feel helpless. Lin Che said, get someone to watch over him. I'll go over now. Yes, madam. Su Fan asked around for a long time before she found out that Lin Che's child was in this kindergarten. She thought that since she couldn't please Lin Che over there, she should be able to do something to the child. After all, the child was immature. If she gave them some benefits, they would say good things about them. Moreover, through the child, it would be easier to please the child's parents. Many people really doted on their children. Saying that her child was good was more effective than flattery. So she came to the kindergarten early in the morning. Looking at the kindergarten from afar, she suddenly felt that it was different from the kindergarten at home. It was huge and looked especially spacious. It was the only one from high school, and it was a famous high school. The architecture inside was like that of a palace. This kindergarten was probably very high class. Having been in B City for some time, they had some understanding of such high-class things. Although they still sighed, they weren't so surprised. She went over but was stopped. Looking at the security guards at the door, they looked very serious and professional. She quickly said, my relative's child is here. He's my grandson, so I came to take a look. Who are you going to see? Oh, his name is Gu Xinian. Gu Xinian? Everyone's eyes twitched involuntarily. All right, to find their young master? They didn't remember that young master had such a relative. Su Fan didn't know that these people were the Gu family's security guards who were sent over to take shifts. Let's go and ask. Someone went in and saw young master. They didn't need to ask the teacher. If they had anything, they would ask young master directly. This was also approved by Mr. Gu. So they didn't go to see the teacher and directly told Gu Xinian about it. Gu Xinian looked from outside and saw Su Fan. He instructed in a low voice, tell my mother first. I'll go and see what he has to say. He thought it was quite interesting. Otherwise he wouldn't have bothered with them. Especially since these people treated him like a child, it made him feel like he was pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger. Several security guards listened to his instructions and immediately followed. They were now used to the young master's higher IQ than ordinary people, so they were still very obedient to his instructions. Soon they arrived outside. Su Fan saw Gu Xinian in the lounge and immediately walked in with a pile of snacks. Nyen Nyen Io, grandma is here to see you. Oh, my grandmother isn't you, he said. Su Fan smiled with wrinkles on her face. Your grandma is my sister. When your grandma isn't around, I'm like your grandma. My grandma looks much younger than you. Su Fan was immediately despised. She thought that children didn't know how to speak properly, not to mention that they were from such a rich family. They had been spoiled to the point that their words were so harsh. However, Su Fan was indeed much prettier than her. The last time she saw her at home, she also saw how young she was. She really didn't know if she had transformed into a vixen. She was already so old, yet she still looked like a little girl. If not, she had money, so she took good care of herself. They didn't have money, so they had no time to take care of themselves. Look, grandma has brought you a lot of delicious food. Gu Xinian took a look. They were all snacks like Wong Wong big gift bags. Ordinary children would definitely like to eat, but he wasn't an ordinary child. She glanced at him and said, my mother said that I'm not allowed to eat snacks. Grandma is here and your mother can't see you. It's okay for you to eat. Especially snacks from strangers. Su Fan said, how can I be a stranger? Didn't I go to your house for a meal last time? All right. You're still loafing around in our villa. Su Fan said unhappily, what does a child know? That's not loafing around. We're relatives. Since there's no one staying at your house, you let me stay there. Then how much do you pay for the rent? The rent there is very expensive. If you stay there, we won't be able to rent it out. Su Fan paused. How did this child know about rent? He must have heard it from an adult. She said, well, your family has a lot of money anyway. You don't care about this bit of money? A month's rent is estimated to be more than 100,000. How can I not care? Su Fan was stunned. How can it be so expensive? You can ask around. That location, that villa, not to mention the renovations, there are servants who clean it regularly. Su Fan didn't know what to say. She felt strange. This child was only a few years old. How did he know so much? He looked aggressive, but there wasn't a trace of the innocence that a child should have. You're a child, you don't understand. But was that place really that expensive? More than 100,000 was an astronomical figure to them. But now that he said that, she was even more reluctant to move out. She looked at him and said fawningly, our family is very poor. You can have anything you want at home. Just tell your mother to take pity on us, okay? Oh, we have another apartment. It's enough for you to stay in. You can move there. That won't do. That apartment is so small. We have so many people. The rent there is a little lower. It's only 4,000 a month. You should be able to afford it. We still have to pay rent? Of course. Even blood brothers should settle accounts clearly. Sufan was furious. How could this child be so stingy? Sufan said, Then let's not talk about this for now. If we have money, of course we want to pay rent, but we don't. Why don't you tell your mother to let our auntie become a celebrity? We're all relatives. Let's earn money together. If we earn money, you guys will benefit too. Gu Xinian chuckled. To be a celebrity, you have to see if she looks like one. That little Andy doesn't look like a celebrity. Do you think anyone can become a celebrity? Sayu child. Why are your words so unpleasant? You're even a relative. Is she telling you the truth because she's a relative? You don't want to hear lies, do you? The truth is like this. If it's a lie, I'll tell you to be one. It's a waste of time and you won't get anything. Isn't that harming you guys? You child who taught you these words. Was it your mother who taught you? Chapter 13:23. Hee. Just then Lin Che rushed over. Second aunt, why are you here? Looking at Lin Che, Sufan was a little confused. How did Lin Che know? She had come here secretly. Did the kindergarten tell Lin Che? This kindergarten was so troublesome. Lin Che had come so quickly. He was too protective of his own child. No wonder he was so spoiled. Sufan smiled and said, I know he goes to school here, so I came to take a look. This kindergarten is really big. It must be expensive to go to school here. It's okay. She smiled. Sufan said, It's good to be rich. You see, everything is good. If our child could go to such a school, I wouldn't have to worry about her now. Look, it's all because our family is too poor that our child's growth has been delayed. I had no choice but to find a way out for her, and that's why she came to be city, isn't it? Lin Che smiled. Really? Sufan said, Look at how happy Nian Nian is. You have to thank your mother for being able to go to school here. Gu Xinian said, Of course. It's all thanks to Mom that I can go to school here. He thought to himself that Sufan still didn't know that this kindergarten was built by their family. This place was good and expensive, but that was because their family had the resources to get any teaching equipment they wanted and they were willing to spend money to get it. Sufan said, Look, let your sister go to your... Before she could finish her sentence, Sufan's phone rang. She was still using an old-fashioned phone, but when she arrived in B City, she bought an iPhone for Lu Lian and she was still using an old-fashioned one. She picked it up immediately. Lu Lian, are you Lu Lian's mother? I am. Your child owes money. If you don't return it, we'll throw her into a brothel to pay off the money. You? Where are you? The person gave an address and it was obvious that it was not a good place. Sufan was so shocked that she dropped the phone in her hand. Xiaoche, hurry up and save our Lu Lian. I can't let her be defiled. She's my only daughter. What did Wu Lu Lian do this time? Hearing this, Lin Che said to her, Don't worry. Where is he now? They said it was some kind of charm. It was a famous nightclub. There were many beautiful women inside and many of them could be brought out for private transactions. Lin Che knew about that place because the news had mentioned it time and time again. But because he didn't know who was behind it, he kept standing there. Lin Che said, I'll send someone over to take a look first. Thank you so much. Little Che, you're our family's savior. Don't worry, I won't let anything happen to her here. Otherwise, whatever happened outside would be her trouble. Lin Che immediately sent someone to Charm Beauty to stop these people in case they really did anything to her. In the seductive room, those hooligans were unscrupulously touching and kissing lingering love. He was just one step away, but he still needed her to ask for money, so he didn't do it. Flowing Love was disgusted. She felt extremely uncomfortable being touched by so many people. Let me go, I really don't have money. We've already called your mother. If you don't have money, you'll be thrown to someone else. You're not bad looking, but you're still young. I think you'll be able to return the money soon. No, don't do this. I don't want to sell it. You don't want to go. Who asked you to lend us so much money? I really can return it. She had secretly taken things from Lin Che's villa and wanted to sell them. However, no one dared to buy them in the black market. When they saw them, they said that they belonged to someone else. If they dared to buy them, they would have to be tired of living. She was really furious, but she could only put the things back secretly. Then she thought of borrowing money from the loan sharks, who knew that she would fall into their trap. Just then, someone outside suddenly said, Someone is here to call her. Ah, your mother is quite fast. When she went out, she saw a few bodyguards walking in. Where is she? They were so scared that their legs turned to jelly. These people were here for that woman. How did that woman know these people? Didn't they say that she came from another city and had no background? She's inside. The bodyguards came in and saw Flowing Love lying on the ground in a disheveled state. They immediately pulled her up and walked out. Hey, don't go. She hasn't paid the loan sharks yet. How much does she owe? At this moment Lin Che arrived. The bodyguards looked at Lin Che, their eyes lit up. Then they looked at the person on the ground and thought to themselves. Since it was Lin Che who came, the money would be settled. She owes 3 million. Ha. Lin Che said, I mean, how much do you owe before the interest? Hey, you don't have to worry about that. She owes us 3 million anyway. Su Fan looked at her daughter. Her heart ached when she saw that her daughter was in such a sorry state. I am my Flowing Love, why do you owe so much money? What did you do? Flowing Love was also regretting it. She had always wanted to be a star. She had thought that it would be fine if she slept with them. But after interacting with them, she realized that she could not sleep with those directors just because she wanted to. She pretended that she was a rich young lady and wanted to act in a role. Those people saw that she was so generous with her money and lived in such an expensive villa, so they really believed that her family was rich. But she had to spend money. She had spent all her money and did not dare to ask for more from her family. So, she had to borrow from the loan sharks. She had thought that this was a kind of investment. She could return the money to them if she could become a star. But now that the interest had increased, she had borrowed 300,000, but it had suddenly become 3 million. She had never seen so much money in her life. Lin Che looked at them and said, all right, you don't want to say? I'll treat it as $3 with interest. With that, she threw $3 on the ground. The bodyguards looked at her and wondered what she was doing. We've returned the money to you. We'll take her away. Hey you. Lin Che, you can't be so unreasonable. If you're like this, we'll have to find a place to argue with you. Lin Che chuckled and said, you're the one who didn't tell me. 300,000. She owes 300,000. With the interest it's 3 million. When Su Fan heard this, she said angrily, why don't you just rob someone? Country bumpkin, what do you know? This is our rule, the bodyguard said to Su Fan in disdain. Lin Che said, all right, if that's the case, 300,000? She'll slowly return it in the future. We'll take her away first. Not a single cent less. Otherwise, don't even think about taking her away. Oh? Let me see if I can take her away. Lin Che waved his hand and the bodyguards immediately walked over. Chapter 1324. The skills of the security guards were not something that these hooligans could compare to. Someone tried to snatch Lin Che away but was pressed to the ground by the security guards. Seeing that Lin Che's subordinates were so powerful and Lin Che was so domineering and not afraid of these gangsters at all, Lu Lian forgot how lowly she had been. She immediately stood up and shouted, Humph, you lied to me. You lied to me again. Now you know how powerful I am. The few hooligans were instantly beaten to the ground. Looking at the proud Wu Liulian, they were still in a state of shock. They did not understand how the tables had turned so quickly. Su Fan rushed over and hugged Wu Liulian. Child, you silly child. What did you do? Look at yourself. Wu Liulian said, it's not my fault. It's all their fault for lying to me. You think I don't know? I'll ask you when we get back. Su Fan wanted to drag Wu Liulian away, but the hooligans did not forget about the money they owed. Sai, you can't not return the 300,000. You really owe them that. Su Fan felt her head hurt when she heard the 300,000. She did not have that much money. She had never seen so much money in her life. You're lying. You never gave it to us. You must be lying to us. I don't believe you. What proof do you have? We all have the IOU in black and white. Lin Che looked at Wu Liulian. You should return the 300,000 you owe us. Hearing Lin Che's words, Lu Lian's expression changed. She pinched her hands and said, I don't have money. How could I have so much money? Lin Che said, then what did you do with the money? Wu Liulian stuttered, I want to be a star. Don't stars need to spend money to manage themselves? I just manage myself. If I wanted to manage myself, 300,000 is nothing. Lin Che crossed his arms. 300,000 was a normal person's income for many years. How could she say that it was nothing? It's true that you manage yourself, but it has to be in line with your actual situation. If you can afford the money, you can use it to manage yourself. But since you can't, it's beyond your capabilities. If you still want to manage yourself, aren't you just digging your own grave? Lin Che said, then you should think of a way to earn money and return the money. What? Wu Lu Lian said, if I don't become a celebrity, how can I earn so much money in such a short time? I only earn a few $1,000s a month. I won't be able to pay it off in this lifetime. How could that be? You can try. Your mother. Wu Lian couldn't bring herself to say it, so she stomped her feet and looked at Su Fun. Su Fun hurriedly said, she definitely can't afford it. She's only 16 years old. If she pays back the money like this, what will happen to her in the future? Please help us. This money, we don't have to pay back. Lin Che said, how can I do that? It's only right and proper for a person to repay a debt. I don't have to ask for so much interest from them, but to directly say that they aren't allowed to get back the 300,000 that belongs to them is too outrageous. They are also people with status. To be able to make a name for themselves in B City, they are definitely not ordinary people. If I have reason, I can still talk to them. If I don't, how can I argue with them? It wasn't as if Su Fan didn't see how Lin Che's men had beaten up the people on the opposite side. How could they not be able to handle it? Xiao Che were relatives after all. Can't you do us a favor? If you have the ability, please help us. You can't just watch Lu Lian's life be ruined. I really want to have the ability, but I really can't force you to pay them back the 300,000. Su Fan couldn't bring herself to say it. You have so much money, can't you just help us pay it back? At this moment, Wu Lian thought of something and immediately said, how about I work at your studio to pay back the money? Is that okay? Lin Che squinted at Wu Lian. Looking at her radiant face, it was obvious what she was planning. Our company is not short of people now. Even if you go there, there won't be a suitable position. Can't I be your trainee? Trainees don't get paid. So harsh. It's like this. We provide food and lodging, but we don't get paid unless we take on a commercial performance or go out to work. Lin Che said honestly. Wu Lian hesitated for a long time before saying, then, what about the assistants of those celebrities? Can't I be an assistant? I see that you are hiring assistants every day. You must be short of them. They were indeed short of such assistants because it was not easy to hire them. Lin Che raised his eyebrows. Okay, if you can do it, then give it a try. Upon hearing this, Wu Lian smiled brightly. Being an assistant meant that she could get close to those celebrities in the entertainment industry. She might be able to find a chance among them. Lin Che looked at her and shook his head silently. The hooligans looked at them. They had already discussed it amongst themselves. What were they going to do? They wouldn't accept the idea of paying back the money slowly. Lin Che, what do you mean by this? It's impossible for us to pay back the money. We have to support our families too. Upon hearing this, Su Fan became even more nervous. What if they were not willing? Lin Che turned around and said, Second aunt, you guys go out first. I'll talk to them. Su Fan hurriedly brought Wu Lian out. After the two of them went out, Lin Che looked at the hooligans in front of him and said, you have to know that loan sharks are against the law. A few hooligans said, in our underworld there's no such thing as breaking the law or not. There are only rules. Go and ask around. These are the rules of our industry. What are you trying to do? You're a celebrity. Just be a celebrity. Why do you care about our underworld? Lin Che had no choice. It looked like he had to use his connections. She said, okay, since you're talking about the underworld, then I'll use the underworld's people to write an IOU. What? Whatever you say is useless. What underworld's people? Is the Black Hawk useful? Oh, the Black Hawk. Don't tell me you don't know the Black Hawk? After a while, Su Fan and Wu Lian waited outside. Wu Lian said, can Lin Che do it? Those people are very powerful. Su Fan said, it's not like you didn't see how powerful their bodyguards were just now. But those are all gangsters. Even if these bodyguards can beat them for the time being, they still have a lot of power in the underworld. In front of us, Lin Che can still pretend to be very powerful. But now that she has asked us to come out, could it be that she can't handle it at all? At this moment, the door opened and Lin Che came out. Chapter 1325. Wu Lian still wanted to say something, but she saw a few hooligans behind Lin Che bowing to her. They were almost lowering their heads to the ground. Sister Che, take your time. You don't have to come personally if you need anything. Look, you've been through a lot this time. Lin Che said, all right, let's get down to business first. Yes, I'm really sorry. But we really owe you money and we can't do anything about it. We don't want the interest. Sister Che, you're a relative. You just have to pay us back slowly. We can't do anything about it. It's not a small amount, it's $300,000. Lin Che took out a contract and passed it to Wu Liulian. Liulian, take a look. This is your contract. From now on, all the money you earn outside will be transferred to them. What? Wu Liulian said gloomily, can't I keep some for myself? You can only keep 10%. That's too little, that's why you should work hard. The sooner you pay back the money, the sooner you can be free. Wu Liulian looked at the people behind her. They were so polite to Lin Che, but he still wanted her to pay back the money. She was furious. But then she thought about it. She could become Lin Che's assistant soon. If she had the chance, she might become a celebrity. She decided not to think about it for now. She reluctantly agreed and signed the contract. The hooligans hurriedly escorted Lin Che out. Su Fan looked at them and asked Lin Che, what's wrong with them? Little Che, you're amazing. They were so arrogant just now, but now they're so obedient. Lin Che said, how is it because I'm amazing? I only got this because I begged them for a long time, and this is the only time I can get it. It's useless to beg anymore. If you guys come looking for me again, I won't be able to do anything. Yes, I'll teach Lu Liulian a lesson when we get back. Su Fan was scared out of her wits. She wanted to talk to Lu Liulian about how dangerous it was. If something really happened to her, her life would be ruined. Oh yes, are you really going to be an assistant tomorrow? Su Fan asked. Yeah. In that case, you must have your people take good care of our flowing love. Only by going through hardships can one rise above others. In our line of work, we have to go through hardships as well. It's good for her to learn a little. Once she practices, she'll know what to do in the future. Oh, don't say that. I don't think you've suffered much. Look at you now. You have people waiting on you wherever you go. That's now. In the past, I was beaten and scolded a lot. You don't know that. Being a small assistant, serving tea and water, who hasn't done that in our line of work? Su Fan was dubious. Had she ever suffered like this? He really couldn't tell. Lin Che went back home and called Yu Minmin when he got home. Tomorrow Wu Liulian will report in. Let her follow Qing Yuan too and find an opportunity to fire her. They really know how to make trouble. Yeah, I'm afraid of her. If she can call me now, she can also call my mother next time. My mother is doing well in the M Nation, but she still harassed and complained about her. That's not good. Anyway, it's not a big deal. Let them know early that it's not so easy to make a living in this industry. Alright, don't worry. I'm good at this. Lin Che made the arrangements. The next day, he heard that the Dien delegation had set a date. They were indeed the nouveau riche royal family. Before the princes of the royal family arrived, they had already attracted the attention of many media outlets. All of a sudden, the news was all over the place introducing these princes. Lin Che saw some people discussing behind him. I think Prince Hardman is the best. But it seems like he won't inherit the throne. He's the third prince in line of succession. Then who will inherit the throne? The eldest prince has been the crown prince for many years. It's Syed. Aya, he looks handsome too. That's right. He's rich. These oil fields will be his in the future. He's so handsome and rich. What if he wants to marry? He already has a wife. I saw it. They can marry 4 wives, but he only married 3, right? Aha, are you going to be his concubine? So what if I'm a concubine? He's so handsome and rich. When Yu Minmin heard what the people behind her said, she smiled and said to Lin Che, look, she can't wait to become a concubine. Lin Che said, but I can see that Syed's wives don't have a high status, and their princesses usually don't have a high status. The current princesses have a bit of authority because they have many sons because their sons are the crown prince. However, the other princesses aren't even comparable to ordinary guests. They don't know. You've seen them. Of course you know. We don't have a chance to see the royal life. Shoo, don't be jealous of me. Are you going to attend the reception this time? Yeah. That's good. I'll be there too. Harman is familiar with Gu Jingza. That's great. We have a companion. Actually, Lin Che had never been to such a reception. For this reason, she purposely chose some clothes that looked more dignified, but not as formal as the First Lady. This was to prevent others from guessing. These were all reminded by the butler. After all, when it came to matters of national affairs, they had to be more cautious. They had to think more comprehensively. Lin Che looked at herself in the mirror. The servant smiled and said, Madam, you look good in anything. You don't have to worry. Lin Che turned around and smiled sweetly. She was indeed very flirtatious and captivating. You guys flatter me every day. I really think I'm a fairy. We're telling the truth. Madam, you look better and better. Lin Che was enjoying herself with the servants. Soon Gu Jingze came to pick her up. He pulled her along and walked out. The diplomatic group has arrived. Syed is leading them. Harman is among them. Okay. I'm fine. Will the media take pictures of us? The media will only take pictures of them at the airport. They're not allowed to enter the party. Oh, that's good. Otherwise it would be troublesome. Outside, Gu Jingming had arranged for people to welcome the diplomatic group. They got off the plane surrounded by the media. The princes were photographed by the media. There were no women on this trip. Gu Jingze explained to Lin Che, their princesses won't come out to meet people. This confirmed Lin Che's guess. Their princesses didn't have a high status. Chapter 1326. The luxurious life of the diplomatic mission had been publicized by the media for a long time. Many people sighed in admiration. Gu Jingming waited at the glass palace. The media was not allowed to enter until he reached the glass palace. Lin Che went in and saw that the banquet was ready. Yu Minmin followed Gu Jingming to deal with the officials. When they were almost done, they came to find Lin Che. Because it was a state visit, there were a lot of trivial matters and rules. Harman followed behind. When he saw Lin Che, he exclaimed, "Hey Lin Che, you are here." This voice attracted the attention of many officials. Everyone could not help but turn around to see who Haman was calling out to. When they saw Lin Che, many of their eyes flashed with astonishment. But Harman didn't care. He pushed away a few people and came to Lin Che's side. Princes like Harman were used to being ostentatious at home. They didn't care about the understanding of the officials. Moreover, Harman wasn't a candidate for the crown prince. So he lived more freely than others. Everyone looked at Haman and then at Lin Che, who was behind him. They were wondering how these people knew Lin Che. In other words, Lin Che's social circle was really strange. Usually he wouldn't mingle with those socialites. But the people he knew were all top-notch. Because of this, Lin Che didn't want to make friends with anyone. He just got along well with them. Because of this, the people who knew each other were not very scattered. They were all concentrated on these people. Gu Jingze was not around at that moment. Haman said, "You're actually alone. Did Gu Jingze let you walk around here?" "Why not?" Lin Che said strangely. "Doesn't he always stay close to you? That's in Dean City. It's not a big deal here." Lin Che said, "He was worried that I would have problems when I was abroad. But in my own home, I don't think there will be any problems." Harman raised his eyebrows. "Anyway, I only saw him sticking to you. At this time, Gu Jingze should be busy with business. She naturally wouldn't get involved." The two of them talked for a while. During this time, there was no lack of people who wanted to interrupt them. However, Harman did not like to talk to people. So, they could only watch in fear and gradually stopped coming over. In the middle of the conversation, Haman got bored and left the place to find other entertainment. "Hey, I see that there are quite a few beautiful women here. I want to go and have a good look." Lin Che shook his head helplessly. He turned around and found a place to sit down. After talking for so long, he was extremely thirsty. Just as he took a sip of water, he saw a shadow buried in front of him. "Hey, what are you doing hiding here?" He raised his head. Syed's lips curled into a prideful smile. Lin Che said, "You call this hiding here? I'm clearly drinking here in broad daylight." "Is that so? However, I feel that you have been talking to Haman the entire time, ignoring me. Weren't you intentionally avoiding me?" "Ha! I didn't even see you, so there's nothing to hide from. Besides, why is it that I'm hiding from you when I'm talking to Haman?" "Because a lot of people know that Haman and I never speak together." Lin Che frowned. He leaned against her and said, "I'm not interested in Haman, a prince who doesn't even know who his mother is." "How arrogant. That's your younger brother. I have many younger brothers. I already have enough. I don't need another one." Lin Che said speechlessly, "Aren't you being too unreasonable? What else? If I have to call a child born to a random woman my father finds outside my brother, then should I call his mother who might be a maid sweeping the floor?" Lin Che rolled his eyes at him. Forget it. His lifestyle was ultimately different from hers. There was no point in talking nonsense with him. But this was the first time she found out that the fight for the position of crown prince was very obvious. There was no concealment at all, and it was not done behind the scenes. Instead, whoever they were not good with, whoever they had enmity with, it was all done in the open. It was unbelievable. She was used to the reserved way of fighting in Country C. She wasn't used to the feeling over there. However, when Lin Che stood up and left, Syed followed him. In the corridor, Syed said, "Where are you going?" Lin Che frowned, feeling that it wasn't appropriate. Prince, you're the representative of the diplomatic group. It's not right for you to follow me. So many people were looking at him, yet he left just like that. What did he look like? What's more, he followed behind her and left. Did he not care about others at all? Did he not care about the big picture at all? Syed looked behind him. Is there anything wrong with me caring about others when I want to go out alone? That's natural. People will start gossiping if they see it. Eldest prince, please go back. Syed stood in front of Lin Che and blocked his way. No, I hate the so-called etiquette of country C. Some of them are cumbersome and useless. Especially when you're in a high position and have a high status, yet you still have to care about what others think. What's the point of having power and money then? Lin Che took half a step back. Prince, please have some respect. Perhaps our habits are different from yours, but since you're in country C, please respect our habits. Haha, I've never respected anything before, Syed said as he approached Lin Che. Lin Che's gaze became even more vigilant. He looked at Syed with a hint of warning. Prince, if you come any closer, I'll suspect your intentions. No, you don't have to suspect me, Syed said. I'm inviting you. Inviting me for what? Inviting you to marry me and be my wife. Ridiculous. That was the first word that flashed through Lin Che's mind. Following that, she felt disgusted and confused. You have 3 princesses and I also have my husband. Are you joking with me? Not really. Syed did not hesitate. He looked down at her with his height, as if he was giving her face by saying that. I'm the heir to the throne, and I'll become the king in the future. As for Gu Jingze, he's not even the head of the family anymore. Without the Gu family, he'll lose his support. You can consider marrying the most powerful man in the world. That man is no longer Gu Jingze but me. It was hilarious. Lin Che sneered. You're not the most powerful man. The most powerful man will always be Gu Jingze. Chapter 1327. Syed laughed arrogantly. How is that possible? His net worth is already lower than mine. Lin Che shook his head with a faint smile. No matter what his net worth is, in my eyes he is everything to me. He is more valuable than everything I have, more valuable than my life. So, in my heart he will always be the strongest. Syed's eyes narrowed dangerously. His gaze was sinister, looking a little sinister. At this moment, Dongzi was still looking at them from behind, as if he would rush over at any time. Because he was the eldest prince, Dongzi was not so aggressive. However, regardless of whether he was the eldest prince or not, if he wanted to hurt Lin Che they would definitely not be lenient. Syed snorted. What are you looking at? I don't need to force a woman if I want to. Lin Che's gaze deepened. Syed said straightforwardly, I will show you when I am the strongest man. Lin Che said, give up. Syed took a deep look at her. Then he saw that Harman had actually followed them here. He harumphed at Harman and left without saying goodbye to him. Harman looked at Lin Che. What is he doing here? Lin Che shook his head. Nothing. Harman followed Lin Che out. As they walked he said, you should be careful. Syed has always been competitive since he was young. It's not a big deal if you always go along with what he says. But once you go against him he will definitely fight to the end. Lin Che frowned slightly. She felt a little uneasy. This was indeed not good. She felt that she should stay away from the diplomatic mission to avoid trouble. With this thought in mind, she asked Dongzi to tell Gu Jingze that she would leave first. Then she left. Outside the weather was fine. The president's palace was shrouded in a joyous atmosphere. It looked peaceful, but it was mixed with a bad atmosphere. Lin Che thought that maybe she was overthinking. After leaving, Lin Che went home. When he arrived at the door, he heard that something had happened at the kindergarten. The kindergarten staff called and said that someone had called at night, saying that they wanted to send a few children to the kindergarten. They said that the kindergarten was already full and would not be accepting any more students. The other party said that they were from the Gu family and wanted to send a few of the Gu family's children to the kindergarten. Lin Che was a little depressed. Someone from the Gu clan. Lin Che held his forehead and said, which Gu family? That's what I asked too. They said there's no other Gu family in country C. Lin Che said, we're not accepting any more students, that's it. We're already full, we won't accept any more. Which other Gu family could it be? It had to be the Gu family of the previous clan members. Currently, there were 2 Gu families in the rich circle of country C. They called Gu Jingze an expatriate, while the Gu family, which was led by the Shui family, was old-fashioned. This way, everyone would know who they were talking about. After all, now that the 2 families had separated, They couldn't continue to talk about it together. As for the kindergarten opened by Lin Che, because the kindergarten was funded by several people, no one exposed it to the public. Therefore, people outside only knew that there was a kindergarten with a strong background here. The facilities inside were better than any kindergarten in Country C, and the teachers were definitely better than those international kindergartens. Therefore, not long after the kindergarten opened, the quota was full. Although the kindergarten could be expanded, Lin Che found it troublesome. He didn't want the kindergarten to blindly expand, which would ruin the quality of the kindergarten. It was better to have the right students and the right teachers. Only then could the quality of the kindergarten be the best. As a result, he didn't expect the kindergarten to be even more exaggerated than before. Many people talked about this kindergarten and said that it was really amazing. If there were enough students, even the emperor couldn't get in. It was useless to look for people, connections, and money. It seemed that it was really the best kindergarten. All of a sudden, the kindergarten was exaggerated. People even said that the children who could go to school here must have a strong background. In this way, there were more people who wanted to get in. This was human nature. The more they couldn't get something, the better it was. The rarer it was, the more treasured it was. The more they couldn't get in, the more high-end it seemed. In fact, it was not as high-end as people said. They just paid more attention to the children's growth. Because in the beginning, the kindergarten was built to ensure the safety of the children, and also to ensure that their studies were guaranteed. Now everything was fine. Why did the Gu family bump into her again? Lin Che put down the phone and asked someone to find out who from the Gu family came to make trouble. After asking, he found out that several relatives of the Gu family heard that this kindergarten was amazing, so they didn't want to have a tutor at home, so they wanted to go to this kindergarten. What did it mean? In the past, the children of the Gu family would have tutors at home. Even if they didn't go to school before middle school or high school, they could go abroad to study. Why did this one want to go to their kindergarten? After receiving the call, the kindergarten was a little worried. They didn't worry about anything else, because they knew that the investors behind them weren't people ordinary people could afford to offend. Therefore, in terms of teaching and resources, it was smooth sailing for them. Those who wanted to find trouble outside, the government and the underworld, all took a detour when they saw this kindergarten. But the Gu family was a little different. After all, they were indeed a famous family in Country C. They weren't the #1 family just for show. Lin Che sent someone to ask, and the relatives of the Gu family were still asking about this matter. Seeing that the kindergarten didn't respond, they directly sent someone to ask. The Gu family sent a butler who specialized in children's tutoring to the kindergarten to ask. The butler, Zhou Zhong, looked like an old-fashioned person. He sat there with his legs crossed, drinking tea on the table, and looked at the kindergarten director in front of him. When you come to Country C, the first thing you should know is who is the most powerful in Country C. Not to mention other things, the Gu family has been in Country C for so many years, and they have seen all kinds of storms. They have a strong foundation, and the disciples behind them are all over the world. These are not just for show. The kindergarten director was a foreigner. He stood there not saying a word. He continued, "This time it's because our teacher wants our children to have more contact with society, so we decided to choose a kindergarten that looks good to try. Otherwise, our family's tutors are actually more than enough. They are all children's tutors hired from abroad, and they are all famous teachers. It's just that our family doesn't have the environment, so we thought that the environment here is good, so we wanted to give it a try." Chapter 13:28. What he meant was that they should be honored to have chosen this place. But the principal could only shake his head. Lin Che had already told them that they wouldn't accept anyone else. "We're already full, sir. I'm serious. You can try signing up earlier next year. If someone drops out, I can inform you immediately." "But now, what?" The butler looked up with a smile. "You didn't understand me, did you?" No, I understand. But we really don't have a single place left." "Ahem, principal, who is the investor here?" "I can tell you directly. It might be more useful for me to talk to him." "This has nothing to do with them. No matter who it is." "All right, you're probably a foreigner, so you don't understand." "No, I've already asked. To be honest, I've already asked them. But they really said that we are very strict in running a school. For the sake of good education, we must have principals." The butler stood up immediately and looked at the stubborn principal. "I'll go and ask them now. Who is the investor behind you?" "How audacious." The butler snorted and glared fiercely at the director before leaving. The principal touched his forehead. Ever since he started this kindergarten, he had encountered people like this from time to time. It made him speechless. However, most of them went to look for the investor and then disappeared. It seemed that they had been told that it was impossible, so they didn't show up. But this time the investor was from the Gu family. Would they do the same? When the Gu family returned home, they immediately talked about this matter. Immediately they said angrily, "Go and check. I don't believe that such a big kindergarten doesn't have any loopholes. Go and check." "Yes, sir." The subordinates immediately went to check. They were always number one in terms of hygiene. He had paid the taxes and he had done it voluntarily. They had all the certificates for the teachers. They had bought the park themselves. They had more green space than other kindergartens. What else could they do? Most importantly, they could stir up trouble. But when someone started to ask about it, someone immediately said in private, "Forget it. You can't afford to offend this family." The Gu family was furious. "Hey, in country C, there's no one that my Gu family can't afford to offend." They said, "We're telling the truth. It's not like no one has asked before, but they were all blocked. This family is incredible. You guys should just forget about it." Hey, there's nothing that our Gu family can calculate. The Gu family's housekeeper immediately went upstairs to make a fuss. There must be something wrong with their kindergarten. Investigate it for me. In the end, they really found a problem. That was, the area occupied was too large, and it did not quite comply with the planning regulations. In terms of planning, a kindergarten with only a few students would take up too much land and be considered a waste of land. When the butler saw this, he chuckled and said, "It's such a big area and he dares to say that there are enough people. Isn't he deliberately hyping things up? I know this kind of sales method. He thinks that the more money he has, the more people he can get in. Is this hunger sale?" The people from the City Management Bureau quickly went to investigate. They went straight to the kindergarten and asked the kindergarten to take responsibility and give an explanation. When Lin Che received the call, he sneered, "They're really something. Instead of living a good life, they just have to come and cause trouble." Gu Jingzi said, "What's wrong? What's wrong with the Gu family this time?" Lin Che told him what had happened. "They're really something. How can they find fault with us? I'm speechless." Gu Jingzi said, "A large part of that piece of land is being built as a park. There's actually no problem. Do you need me to tell them?" "No need." "Don't you have to deal with the diplomatic mission?" Lin Che said, "When will they leave?" "I think they'll leave next week." "Why are they staying for so long?" "They have too many things. They need to make proper arrangements." Lin Che shook his head speechlessly. Although he had not been in contact with the diplomatic mission for the past few days, he had seen the news on TV. It said that they had brought so many things that they had piled up outside the hotel prepared for them, attracting a lot of attention. There was even a prince who had brought his own chair over, saying that the chairs here were not comfortable. Such extreme enjoyment and luxury had also attracted the attention and ridicule of the people in the country. Many people dreamed of marrying into this country that seemed to be like a treasury. However, if they really married into the country, they would probably find out that the truth was so cruel. Even if it was a little luxurious, it would not bring them happiness. Lin Che said, "Go and do what you need to do. I'll go and take a look. Even if the Gu family has separated from us, they should still recognize me." Gu Jingzi kissed her forehead. "I'll let them know you better." Over there, the Gu family's housekeeper was still waiting for someone to give them an explanation. At this moment, someone said, "Housekeeper Zhou, wait for a while. The person in charge of the kindergarten is coming." He chuckled and raised his teacup. He did not even look outside. "I knew it. In the end, they will still know how powerful the Gu family is. Let them come. I want to ask them face to face. What are they trying to do? They took up such a large area and violated such a big taboo. How can no one investigate it? Do they really think that Sea country has no rules? Oh, how do I have no rules? I don't know." At this moment, a voice stunned them. Then Zhou Zhong raised his head immediately. When he saw Lin Che walk in with a group of people, he almost fell off his chair. The teacup in his hand had already fallen to the ground. Lin Che, the past Mrs. Gu. They all knew the wife of the direct descendant of the Gu family. It had not been long since this incident. Although they had separated from the family, the two Gu families were still inextricably linked. After so many years, Gu Jingzi was the one who understood the Gu family the best. The Gu family also understood Gu Jingzi the best. Hence, their fear and respect for Gu Jingzi had always been there. Although he was no longer the head of the family and had already separated, in their hearts, he was still high up and inviolable. Lin Che, who used to be by Gu Jingzi's side and was doted on, was also the same. "Ma. Mrs.?" In an instant, Zhou Zhong's voice trembled in fear. Lin Che looked at him sideways. He realized that he did not know this housekeeper. Lin Che maintained his status. There was a hint of coldness in his smile. He looked at him from the corner of his eyes. Which family are you from? I am the housekeeper of the Gu family's branch, the Gu family. I know. Chapter 1329. Zhou Zhong quickly moved aside. Lin Che sat in the seat that he had been sitting on earlier. Before she sat down, the security guard helped her change the cushion. Since he was here, Lin Che had to put on a good front and get as far away from him as possible. He had been so arrogant in the name of the Gu family and said so many big words. It was time for him to slap himself in the face. The people who were still watching from the side were instantly shocked. They didn't know Lin Che's identity, but they saw the butler of the Gu family turn pale and his legs tremble the moment he saw Lin Che. Lin Che was just a celebrity. How could he be so scary? After all, he was a man and he was the butler of the Gu family. Lin Che knew about these branches. There were only a dozen of them. When she took over from Gu Jingze, she knew all of them. But she didn't know this kind of butler. Zhou Zhong didn't forget the time when Lin Che was the head of the Gu family, so he was afraid of Lin Che. After he realized what was going on, he told himself that there was nothing to be afraid of. She and Gu Jingze had already left the Gu family and he was going there alone. The Gu family didn't have to be afraid of Lin Che. However, in his heart, there was another voice saying that he knew how terrifying Gu Jingze was. Offending Lin Che was the same as offending Gu Jingze. Even the Gu family didn't dare to offend Gu Jingze. He was just a small butler. How could he be so daring? But this kindergarten was built by Lin Che? No wonder, that's right. Their children all went to school there. Outsiders knew about it. However, they had specially built a kindergarten for these children. No wonder they weren't afraid. No matter what they said, it was useless. Gu Jingze wasn't afraid of anyone. He didn't need to give face to anyone, so he rejected anyone who said anything. What did you mean just now? What are you trying to do? Lin Che paused for a moment before raising his eyebrows to look at her. Zhou Zhong said hurriedly, "It's a misunderstanding, madam. I didn't know it was yours. I was blind." Lin Che laughed. "No, we have to correct our mistakes. It's too big, isn't it?" No, how dare he say that Gu Jingze is wrong? Does he want to die? We're leaving now. Really, we're leaving now. It's just that my husband wants to send these young masters and young ladies to school because of the fame of the kindergarten. You've done a great job. I don't know if it's you who did it, but the kindergarten has already become famous." Lin Che chuckled, "But it's really full. How about this, you go back and tell him to reserve a spot for him. Next year when school starts, we'll definitely inform him immediately. However, this place is really not as good as the Gu family's private tutor. I'm really worried that we'll be a burden to your family's young master and young mistress. If your studies turn out to be bad, wouldn't that be fatal? We can't afford it either." That's impossible. Your child is like a young master. How could it be wrong? It's a great honor for us to be able to enter this kindergarten. I'll go back and tell my teacher that you're kind enough to save a place for us next year. My teacher will be very happy. This bootlicker. As expected of the Gu family's housekeeper, he really knew how to talk. Lin Che snorted as he watched the butler leave. The butler went outside, wiping the cold sweat off his forehead. He was so unlucky to have bumped into Lin Che. He really wanted to slap himself. He shouldn't have gone in to pretend just now. Now, how could he take back what he had said? The people inside watched Zhou Zhong leave dejectedly. Then they looked at Lin Che and said hurriedly, "Miss Lin now." Lin Che smiled, "It's fine. Sorry to trouble you." Everyone behind him sighed in admiration. What's wrong with Lin Che? That guy who came here just now was so scared that he almost peed his pants when he saw Lin Che. Who knows? Maybe Lin Che has a backer. That backer is too strong. Even the Gu family is afraid of him. As for Zhou Zhong, he quickly went home and told his husband about this. What? Gu Jingze did it? He was a little dispirited, but he couldn't accept it. The more he thought about it, the more indignant he became. So after sitting for a while, he got up and went to look for Xue Mingqi. "Mingqi, look, isn't Gu Jingze trying to take us down a notch?" Xue Mingqi also had a headache. He came looking for humiliation and now he wanted to complain. But is that kindergarten really that powerful? I don't know if it's powerful or not, but they have a good reputation. Now they're deliberately making things difficult for us by not accepting our children. What's the meaning of this? Are we enemies now that we've separated from the family? We're relatives after all. How can they do this? Mingqi was originally angry. These few days the princess from Dubai had come to visit and appeared on TV. But when they came to Country C, they went straight to the Glass Palace and completely cut off contact with the Gu family. In the past, when Gu Jingze was still around, they would definitely visit the Gu family when they came to Country C. Not to mention the other princes, they had a good relationship with the Gu family in the past. But now the Gu family seemed much more deserted because those people didn't come to the Gu family anymore. Mingqi was in charge of many things in the Gu family, but she was still a step away from becoming the head of the family. She was still thinking about what she could do to gain the trust of the family and become the head of the family in an instant. But it was really difficult. Now, before she could think of anything, someone came to complain that she had been bullied by Gu Jingze. She said, "That was Lin Che's doing, right?" "What?" Gu Qing asked. Mingqi said, "That kindergarten. Gu Jingze doesn't have the time to open a kindergarten. It must be Lin Che's idea. He likes to cause trouble when he has nothing better to do." "That should be it. All right, you can go back first. Leave this matter to me," Mingqi said. "Of course I won't let the Gu family's reputation be tarnished like this. It's just a kindergarten. There are many ways to make him shut down." Mingqi was good at using all kinds of tricks, and the tricks she used might not all be based on principles. She liked to drift in the gray area and take risks occasionally. Especially now, she hadn't had enough of being the head of the family. She definitely wouldn't be chased away like this. In that case, it couldn't be any better to use Lin Che as an example. After all, the people of the Gu family hated Lin Che, an outsider who had been spoiled to the heavens and started to show off. Chapter 1330. Lin Che took some time out and brought Gu Xiwan out to play. Gu Xinian was in school and Gu Xiwan was about to be sent to kindergarten. There were too many people protecting her at home and the people who played with her were all servants and adults. It wasn't good, so Lin Che wanted to send her to her brother's side as soon as possible. Anyway, in the nursery, there would be teachers who would take good care of her and she could become independent early. It would be good for her character. So before that, Lin Che still found time to accompany Gu Xiwan and tell her about the benefits of going to kindergarten. Gu Xiwan gradually accepted it. Of course, one of the reasons was that she felt that going to kindergarten was nothing. Her brother would be there too. He would take care of her and play with her. Gu Xiwan didn't like to play with little girls usually, but she was like a little boy. She loved to climb trees and jump over walls and drive cars with those naughty kids. She was a tomboy. Therefore, she usually liked to play with her brother and wanted to be with her brother very much. As she watched the children play, she leaned against a chair and looked at her cup. Then she saw someone behind her starting to seal off the surroundings. A group of people surrounded them. They seemed to be well armed. Lin Che stood up. "What's going on?" "Madam, I think they're from the Dubai diplomatic mission," the security guard said. Lin Che's eyes moved. Indeed, he saw Syed walk out. He took off his Arab clothes and wore a suit. When he walked over, he looked to the side and held the front of his shirt. The servant looked over and was a little surprised. She asked Lin Che, "Madam, what do we do now?" Lin Che waved his hand. "It's fine. Let him come over." "Hey, what have you been doing these few days? I'm about to leave but you haven't come out." He walked over and said. Lin Che said, "It's my honor that the elder prince came to my place. As you can see, I'm taking care of the child." He glanced at the little girl in the distance. "She looks like you at such a young age. She'll definitely be a beauty in the future." He smiled and squinted his eyes. "I think that if we had a child, it would be prettier than her." Lin Che was furious. He was too arrogant. He actually dared to speak so arrogantly here. "Eldest prince, how many times do I have to say it? I'm already married. I love my husband. There's no possibility between us. What you're doing is immoral." "Haha, morality is just a saying of the winner. If you and I get together, we might be talked about enthusiastically in the future. I married a princess of Country C. This is also very good for the cooperation between our two countries." "That's enough, first prince. What's the point of doing this? Do you just want to conquer me? There are so many women who are worth conquering. Why choose a woman like me who has already given birth to 2 children? Syed squinted. His eyes were filled with greed for her. It was a very domineering and evil feeling. "You have a unique charm. Right now, I feel that I don't even have feelings for other women. Yesterday, your rich businessman secretly gave me a few women. When I saw them, I felt disgusted because I felt that they were completely inferior to you." Lin Che felt that it was humiliating. "Syed, don't you think that it's very embarrassing for you to say such things to a woman?" "Of course not. Isn't it the greatest reward for a woman to desire her? Lin Che, as long as you're willing, you'll be the most respected woman in my country in the future. None of my princesses can be compared to you. Now I'm lacking a princess. Isn't this prepared for you? That's enough. Lin Che's eyes sharpened. At this moment someone suddenly said, "Madam, something happened at the kindergarten." Lin Che paused for a moment and glared at Sayed. He hid the disgust in his eyes and said to the servant, "What happened?" The people from the Gu family said that the kindergarten was built with the Gu family's funds. At that time the family hadn't split up yet. The kindergarten was hidden by us and was not included in the division of assets. So, we have to divide it again now. Lin Che was stunned. Then he really wanted to laugh. They're really making use of every opportunity to find an excuse to pick on me, aren't they? Because they were speaking in the language of country C, Sayed did not understand what they were talking about. Sayed quickly caught up to Lin Che before the translator could translate the message. "Where are you going?" Lin Che pushed Sayed away. "Stay away from me. I have something to take care of." Sayed was stunned. Did he just get pushed away? Next to him, his servant saw that it was a serious crime to use violence against a member of the royal family. However, Sayed waved his hand and asked his servant to leave first. He smiled and continued to follow Lin Che. "What happened? I'll help you." "No need." Lin Che looked like he was annoyed and didn't need his help. Sayed found it even more interesting, so he chased after Lin Che. On the other side, the people from the Gu family had surrounded the kindergarten. Outside the kindergarten, some parents came after hearing the news. They had no idea what was going on. The kindergarten had always been grand and formal. Why did it look a bit messy today? Some people wanted to ask what was going on, but the people from the Gu family did not allow anyone to enter the kindergarten. The parents became even more anxious and began to discuss among themselves. What's going on? These people look so powerful. No, won't our children be in danger? Look, someone is coming. Let's go and see what's going on. Lin Che and the others arrived. At the entrance, the people from the Gu family were a bit scared when they saw Lin Che coming. However, a young master of the Gu family yelled when he saw them being scared. "What's going on? How can you be so scared when a woman is here?" The people puffed out their chests again. It made sense. She was no longer their wife. What was there to be afraid of? Lin Che looked at the person who had come. She had seen this person before. He should be a junior of the Gu clan. She sneered. Shui Mingqi didn't come herself but sent some juniors over. What's the meaning of this? Is there no one in the Gu clan now? Let me handle such a small matter. Lin Che, why are you here? Where's Gu Jingze? Why is he hiding behind a woman's back after leaving the Gu family? Lin Che said calmly, "Gu Jingze doesn't need to deal with such a small matter. The man is in charge of the outside world, while the woman is in charge of the inside world. I've always been the one dealing with the children. Why are you here? Why are you here to ask about my children's kindergarten? Are you too busy to do business?" Chapter 1331. Lin Che's words were getting more and more vicious. He was implying that they would take care of the kindergarten. The Gu family was really degrading themselves. The young master had never experienced such things before. He blushed and stared at her for a long time before he thought of a way to retaliate. "The Gu family's property can't be taken away from us. We won't let anyone take advantage of us. This is our principle." Lin Che snorted. "That's ridiculous. I built this place. I invested in it. What does it have to do with the Gu family? She built this place? Why didn't he believe it? Humph, what money do you have? Gu Jingze must have sponsored this place. No matter how much it is, it's our money. You have to return what we deserve to the Gu family." Lin Che looked at him. "You're being unreasonable. Why don't I have any money?" "Of course. This place is so small. The land alone is worth tens of millions. It's definitely not something you can afford. Hurry up and stop wasting time. We're going to take this place anyway." As he spoke, he looked at the curious parents who were still fanning the flames. "What are you looking at? This kindergarten is illegal. It's ours. This bitch stole our money to open it. How dare you send your child here? Are you trying to be a thief?" The parents were shocked when they heard that. They didn't know what to say. They were shocked and in disbelief. How could it be? The kindergarten is so powerful. How could it be because of stealing money? There won't be any problems in the future, will there? Lin Che's face darkened. They actually dared to talk nonsense to the parents. "That's enough. Get out of here right now. Otherwise don't blame me for being rude." Lin Che walked over immediately. He raised his head and looked at them. He said directly, "You bullied a weak woman like me. It's fine if you want to build a kindergarten, but you also want to obstruct our development. We just want to do something. So what if we're women? Can't women have so much money to build a school? Are you looking down on us?" Most of the parents were mothers because it was usually mothers who contacted the kindergarten. Therefore, when these women heard Lin Che's words, they were immediately aroused some feminist thoughts. That's right. Women can be rich too. Why is it that women's money must be obtained through dishonest means? I don't think there will be any problems here. We believe in Lin Che. He's running the school well. It must be you guys who brought people here to cause trouble. Our kindergarten has been fine for such a long time. The children here are safe and sensible and they learn a lot. Such a good school, yet you guys insist on destroying it? You must be plotting something. We can't listen to these people's gossip and deliberately provoke us. Can't we just look at our own children? Our children won't lie. Our children are learning so well here. Their English is like their mother tongue. They don't even need to hire a tutor. They are also very sensible. How can this school be bad? When one of the parents brought it up, everyone recalled it and they all chimed in together. The young master of the Gu family saw this and didn't expect that he would make a fool of himself. Lin Che really had some skills. He had seen through these women's thoughts in an instant. The young master saw that he couldn't cause any more trouble, so he straightened his face and said, "Lin Che, no matter what you do, this is still the Gu family's property. Don't force me to use force." He waved his hand and the people he had prepared beforehand followed behind them. They had seen the difference between their security guards and Gu Jingza's security guards at the wedding. They knew that it was useless to clash with them directly, but they had more people. Hence, this time they brought more people. However, just as they were about to make a move, they saw a group of people coming from behind them. It was definitely a military-grade facility, and they surrounded the people who had just come up. All of a sudden they were even more surprised. These people didn't look like they were from Country C. Lin Che turned around and saw that Syed had already followed them. He looked at Lin Che and said, "Look, Gu Jingza is already being bullied by you." Lin Che frowned. Why did he follow them for no reason? Lin Che said, "Gu Jingza doesn't need to do anything for such a small matter. He doesn't need to do anything, but it doesn't mean that he can ignore it." Before Lin Che could say anything, Syed suddenly raised his hand and smiled at her. "Let me show you what it means to be the most powerful man." Syed's eyes turned cold. He looked at the people in front of him with an arrogant face full of disdain. What was the Gu family now? When the few of them saw this, they didn't know how to react. Syed waved his hand and said, "How dare you use violence in front of the royal family and the diplomatic corps?" The people took a closer look and realized that these people were from the Dian royal family. Prince Syed. He was visiting Country C, so why was he here? They were even more surprised when they saw him standing next to Lin Che. Why did the crown prince know Lin Che? Lin Che, she made them feel that he was unfathomable. If it was because of Gu Jingza, he wouldn't have come to the kindergarten for such a small matter. It seemed that he had followed Lin Che here. Moreover, when they saw the way he smiled at Lin Che, they felt that he was not an ordinary person. The people didn't know what to do. Lin Che didn't want to accept Syed's help. He took 2 steps forward and said, "All right, I'll let you go this time. Get lost and don't come near my kindergarten again. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude." The people didn't want to leave, but when they looked at Syed and thought about how much money the royal family had, they felt that they would suffer a loss. It was better to leave. Syed looked at Lin Che with a smile after they left. "If these people dared to bully you in my country, they would have gone to God by now." Lin Che said, "We aren't as overbearing as you. Although they are annoying, they don't deserve to die. Haha, when you are with me, you will be the princess. Anyone who dares to touch the royal family will die. When that time comes, you will understand what it means to be superior." "Sorry, I'm not interested." Lin Che turned around and was about to leave. Syed said, "Lin Che, the more you refuse me, the more interesting I find you. One day, I will make you come to me and beg me to take you back." Syed looked at Lin Che and narrowed his eyes. His smile became more profound. Chapter 1332. Syed waved his hand and asked his men to come back. Syed's men were different from the others. They were all dressed in the same uniform. They were wearing hats and looked very eye-catching. When the mothers saw them dressed in the same uniform, they shouted, "Hey, look at that guy. I think I've seen him on TV before." "Who is he? He looks so powerful." "I told you that our kindergarten has a strong foundation. I heard that many people want to come here but they can't. We don't even accept one more person. No matter who it is, they can't get in even if they have money. I don't care if they can get in or not. Anyway, our children are doing well here." The mother raised her head proudly. She felt even prouder when she thought about what her daughter said about not being able to get in even if she had money. Looks like they really have a powerful background. I can tell that they're not ordinary people. They're so handsome and stylish. Thinking that her children would go to school with these powerful people and come into contact with these powerful people, she felt more satisfied and proud in her heart, and her expectations for the kindergarten became higher. When everyone saw that the kindergarten's crisis had been resolved, they felt even more assured and proud of the kindergarten. When the people from the Gu family went back and heard that Syed was standing next to Lin Che, they couldn't help but feel that Lin Che was indeed not a simple woman. If she was too simple, Gu Jingze wouldn't have fallen in love with her. She must have some tricks up her sleeve to be able to make Gu Jingze dote on her so much. Xue Mingqi clenched her fists and thought, this is only the first move. Since you're like this, let's continue. Meanwhile, Syed was preparing to go back to China. When they came, they were very ostentatious. When they left, they didn't want to fall behind. When they left, they booked a few planes. Even half of the airport was grounded because they spent a lot of money to buy all the plane tickets, leaving half of the airport empty. When the news spread on the internet, everyone couldn't help but sigh. These people were really good at burning money. Syed walked forward, but he didn't see Gu Jingze. He was a little disappointed. Hammond looked at Syed. Hey, stop looking. The person you want to see won't come. Syed grunted. You know who I want to see. No matter who it is, they won't come, Syed. Harminder snorted coldly. Syed squinted. How dare you call me by my name? Fine, but you won't be able to do that for long. After saying that, Syed brushed past Hammond's shoulder and walked out. The Gu family. Gu Jingze called Lin Che. I'm going home late today. Lin Che said, all right then. It's been tough lately. Yeah, why? Do you feel bad? So what if I feel heartache? My heart aches. Serve me well at night. Don't make me work so hard in the day and again at night. Lin Che thought to himself, who asked you to always like to torment me at night? Furthermore, you always torment me for more than an hour before stopping. After hanging up the phone, Lin Che really felt that Gu Jingze had been very busy and tired these few days. When he came back at night, it was already past midnight. In the morning, he woke up at 6 o'clock as usual. Although the food was always excellent, he might not be able to eat it in time. This workaholic would forget everything once he started working, let alone eating. As for the people around him, although they were worried about his health, Gu Jingze was too domineering. They didn't dare to remind him. How could they just let him do as he pleased? Lin Che thought for a moment. Suddenly she wanted to make him something to eat. Actually, she had thought of giving him a surprise. Unfortunately, she treated herself as a surprise. She put aside the idea of making food for him for the time being. Otherwise, she was worried that it wouldn't be a surprise, but a shock instead. But now she didn't treat it as a surprise. She just wanted to make something for him. She could give it a try. With that thought in mind, she went straight to the kitchen. She begged the chef to guide her as she started to make food for him. With the chef's guidance, the food was made very quickly. It looked good, but the taste, she didn't dare to try it herself. The chef, on the other hand, was fearless. He picked up the chopsticks and bravely tried it. Mainly, he felt that there shouldn't be anything wrong with his supervision. However, when he really picked up the chopsticks to try it, Lin Che saw that the chef was silent. She quickly asked him, "Is it bad?" "It's not that." The chef wanted to cry. Why did the food taste so bad even though he had watched her make it? Some people really weren't meant to be in the kitchen. However, the chef didn't dare to say it out loud. He only smiled and said, "Madam, your food still has your unique taste." Lin Che felt like a failure. The chef saw that the madam's expression didn't look too good. He quickly said, "It's not that it's bad. It's just that it's edible. It's just that the taste is different from what I imagined." Lin Che's eyes shone. "Really? Let me try it." She quickly picked up the food and tasted it. Unknowingly, she realized it was edible, but the taste was really weird. She swallowed it. She felt that if she gave this to Gu Jingze, it would feel like she was trying to murder her own husband. The butler, on the other hand, knew how to talk. Seeing Lin Che like this, he smiled and said, "Sir isn't picky about food. He has eaten all kinds of delicious food, but he has never eaten your bento. This is something he has never eaten before, so it's even more precious, isn't it? Why don't you give it to Sir to try?" That's right. She was actually a failure as a wife. She didn't know anything. He was a husband, but his wife hadn't even had a decent dinner before. She thought for a while and got someone to pack it up. She was going to give it to him. No matter what it was, she was the one who made it for him. When they arrived at the Gu Corporation, they waited for a long time. They were told that Gu Jingze was still in a meeting. Qin Hao came out and saw Lin Che sitting outside with something in her hand. He was so shocked that he hurried over. No one went to inform Sir first. If Gu Jingze knew that they had the guts to let Lin Che wait outside, he would skin him alive. Sure enough, when Gu Jingze heard that Lin Che was here, he immediately ended the meeting and walked out. The moment he saw Lin Che, he smiled faintly and walked over. He put his arm around her shoulder and said, "Why are you here? Let's talk inside." Ever since Gu Jingze and Lin Che separated from the Gu family, the whole Gu Corporation had been talking about how Gu Jingze had given up his empire for a beauty. And this beauty was none other than Gu Jingze's own wife. Hence, the whole office was in awe of Mrs. Gu. They felt that Mrs. Gu was a legendary figure. Although she never came to the office, everyone knew her. Chapter 1333. In the office, Lin Che giggled and said to him, "Guess what I brought you?" Gu Jingze turned around and sat behind the desk, looking at Lin Che. Lin Che's face crossed the desk and came up to him. Her mysterious look was very cute. Although she was already a mother of 2 children, had her own studio in such a big company, and was no longer the silly little girl who had nothing in the past, and in the eyes of others she was already a successful person, she still behaved like a child. Looking at her face coming closer, he gave her a peck on the lips. "It's already a surprise that you're here. You don't have to bring anything." Lin Che's heart skipped a beat. She could really feel the throbbing sensation. "You're so annoying. You're teasing me on purpose." She snorted and pouted. "But I still brought it for you." "What?" he asked. She declared solemnly, "You must praise me. You're not allowed to despise me." "Sai, this is an order, isn't it?" No, it's a must. You can't despise me." Okay. If you don't despise me, I'll definitely praise you." He was amused by her expression. She was even forcing him to praise her. However, it wasn't easy to get his praise. If it were her, it wouldn't hurt to be forced. In this world, she was the only one who could order him like this. Suddenly, a small lunch box was placed in front of him. He was stunned and looked at her speechlessly. He looked worried. "Must I praise you?" Lin Che pouted. "What's with that expression? You look so reluctant." If it was something else, he believed that she could do it well, but it was cooking. He was sure that it wouldn't be good to praise her. He said, "It's not that I can't. If I lie, it doesn't matter." You. Lin Che was so angry that he stretched out his hand and pointed in his direction. Seeing that he was smiling, he simply tapped his forehead and said, "Get lost. How can it be so scary? It must be delicious. This time the chef supervised me." Lin Che was so angry that he stretched out his hand and pointed in his direction. Okay. Why are you so agitated? I believe you." She harumphed and looked at him threateningly. Her gaze seemed to say, "If you dare to look at me with any disdain, just wait and see." The food container was slowly opened. Gu Jingze took a look at the things inside and immediately said, "It looks good." Lin Che hurriedly nodded, Of course. "Did you really do it?" "Sure, do you dare to question me?" Lin Che was the first to throw a rude look at him. No. Gu Jingze chuckled. Looking at the chopsticks that Lin Che handed to him, he quickly said, Okay. I'll eat, okay?" Lin Che stared at him with wide eyes. He looked up. "How am I supposed to eat when you're staring at me like this?" Lin Che's second overbearing gaze shot over. "Why can't I eat it? Hurry up and give it to me." Gu Jingze laughed and looked at her, who was acting like a tigress. Okay, I'll eat it, okay?" After taking a bite, he felt that the taste was not as bad as he had imagined. At the very least, it was much better than her previous attempts. It was so good that she could eat it. It looked like it wouldn't poison anyone. He ate one bite at a time while Lin Che watched from the side. Only when he finished eating did Lin Che clap his hands in satisfaction. Seeing that she was finally satisfied, Gu Jingze said, "Can you put down your chopsticks now?" "Yeah, you can start praising me," Lin Che said with her arms akimbo. Gu Jingze looked like he wanted to cry but had no tears. Lin Che immediately used the third overbearing gaze. Gu Jingze said, Okay. My wife is beautiful, generous, kind, and cute. You do everything well." He reached across the table and pulled her towards him. Aya, what are you doing?" Lin Che was directly dragged over, and when he fell into his arms, he was still struggling. He hugged her and said, "Verbal praise can't express how much I like you." He bit her neck first. "Aya, you're biting the hand that feeds you." "No, I'm not full yet. Although it's delicious, it's not as delicious as you." Being hugged and kissed by him, Lin Che's neck was so itchy that her whole body trembled. She kept calling out, let go, Gu Jingza, it's so itchy." Gu Jingza let go of her and looked at her face. "Thank you." She didn't know what to do with him being so serious all of a sudden. Gu Jingza pulled her. "I mean, you're so nice to me." Lin Che lowered her head in embarrassment. "Is this okay?" "Of course. But I haven't cooked for you much." "No need. I know you mean it. But other people's wives cook for their husbands. Why don't I cook for you in the future?" "No, I don't want you to be so tired." He kissed her hand. "Your hand is so beautiful. I don't want you to work so hard every day to wash vegetables and cook." Lin Che's heart softened again. However, she frowned at him and threatened, "Are you sure it's not because the food is so bad that you don't want to eat it anymore?" Gu Jingza smiled faintly. "You're smart now." Lin Che was stunned and then suddenly understood. What he meant was that she was smarter now and could even guess correctly. That meant that she was right. Lin Che immediately put on a fierce expression. "Gu Jingza. Okay, I won't tease you anymore. It's not bad. I like it." Actually, it didn't matter what he ate. He was already full when she came and saw him. He was even more full when he could eat the food she made. He said, "But that's what I said. I don't want you to be so tired. Don't worry about me. I can take care of myself. I know what I'm doing." "I don't think you know." Lin Che looked at him and sighed in his heart. "Look at you. You haven't even eaten lunch, right?" Lin Che said, "You're older than me. It seems that men have a shorter lifespan than women. If you don't cherish yourself, do you want to leave me alone in this world in the future?" Lin Che suddenly felt afraid at the thought of this. She couldn't imagine what would be the point of her life if he was gone. Gu Jingza was also silent. He looked at Lin Che and indifferently approached her. He held her hand and pressed it against her forehead. All his advice was useless. However, this sentence pierced deeply into his heart. "Okay, I promise you. I'll eat well in the future." Only then did she smile gently. The two of them cuddled for a long time before Lin Che finally left. Gu Jingza said, "But the food you cook has indeed improved. Look, I haven't been poisoned to death yet, which means it's still okay. Get lost." She must have married a fake husband. Chapter 1334. Gu Jingza didn't cry out in pain when she pinched his chest. Instead he laughed out loud. The two of them were like a newlywed couple. Their relationship was so good that it made people envious. On the other side, the incident at the kindergarten was not over yet. One afternoon something happened at the kindergarten. A few of the children suddenly reacted strangely. The teacher immediately realized that something was wrong with the children. They were vomiting and their faces were yellow. Gu Xinian was not one of them. Because his things would be specially checked in advance, basically nothing would happen. The children were playing outside in the sun when a few of them vomited. Gu Xinian immediately saw them walking out together. Li Wei asked curiously, "What happened?" Gu Xinian narrowed his eyes. "A few of them vomited together?" "I think so. Did they eat something bad?" "Even so, they shouldn't vomit together." Gu Xinian stood up immediately and walked over. When the teacher saw that it was Gu Xinian, she quickly said, "Stay away. Something happened here." "I know. What happened?" The teacher looked at Gu Xinian and then at the children around him. Gu Xinian was not a normal child. The teacher said, "A few of them vomited together." Gu Xinian immediately asked, "How long has it been?" "Just now." Gu Xinian immediately waved at the security guards outside. When the security guards saw that their young master was calling them, they hurried over. Gu Xinian ordered calmly, "Get someone to lock down the kindergarten, especially the kitchen. Don't let anyone in or out. Keep all the records. If anything suspicious happens, report it immediately." The teacher stared at him dumbfounded. Seeing this, the security guards who had been through hundreds of battles, did not hesitate at all. They immediately obeyed the order and went to work. The teacher immediately understood what Gu Xinian meant. There might be something wrong with the kitchen. Immediately lock down the place and keep all the information. Don't give anyone a chance to destroy it. It would be more helpful for the investigation later on. That was because the kitchen would have records of the incoming goods and the cooking process. No matter where the goods came from, who was in charge of the food, how the food was distributed to the cafeterias of each class, everything would be recorded. There were also very important surveillance cameras. If the surveillance cameras were destroyed, the difficulty of the investigation would be greatly increased. The teacher looked at the child in shock. In just a few seconds, the child had already made a judgment and quickly implemented it. He was really a genius child. Just where did his intelligence come from? No wonder these security guards were so obedient to his words. It seemed that they had never seen him as a child. At this moment, Gu Xinian turned around and interrupted the teacher's exclamation. He then instructed, "Get someone to inform my father and mother. The doctors they brought will be better. Don't let outsiders come into contact with these children." Yes. When the teacher said yes, she felt surprised. Why did she sound like a subordinate who was listening to orders? However, this child had such an aura, especially that expression just now. It made people subconsciously submit to him. On Lin Che's side, the security guard immediately sent a message. Lin Che was stunned. He stood up and gritted his teeth. Wasn't this Xue Mingqi a little too much? How dare she lay her hands on these children? Everyone in the Gu family knew that Xue Mingqi was capable. However, the Gu family should also know that Xue Mingqi was a vicious and merciless person. She never cared about the way she did things. She only cared about the results. Lin Che immediately called the doctor over. However, he couldn't stop the news media from broadcasting it immediately. What a coincidence. The incident had just happened an hour ago, and the news had already been released. How could things happen so quickly? When did the media in C country become so timely? Or was it that someone had already prepared for the news to be published quickly? On the news, someone said, "Just now there was a suspected food poisoning incident at Xianmeng International Kindergarten. Several children have already been hospitalized because of vomiting. The specific situation is still under investigation." This kindergarten was previously approved to occupy a large area, have high tuition fees, and have a shocking lineup of teachers. However, no one knows what kind of background they have. Through the media reports, only a small group of people knew about this amazing kindergarten. Now, a large number of ordinary people suddenly discovered the wonders of this kindergarten. The aerial photo of the kindergarten was big and beautiful. It was like a small park. The building was also so luxurious that it made people feel like it was a small castle. There were also many people who discovered that the teachers were so strong that they were speechless. It didn't look like a kindergarten at all. Even some high-class schools wouldn't have such strong teachers. This was indeed a kindergarten for children between 2 to 6 years old. The people couldn't help but start to be surprised. What kind of children were attending this class? It didn't look like a school that ordinary people could enter. It was probably a school for the children of tycoons and powerful people. Lin Che immediately called the doctor at home to rush over. She knew what Gu Xinian meant. The doctor outside might be Xue Mingqi's people again. If something were to happen again, it would be irreversible. Lin Che also rushed to the kindergarten as soon as possible. The doctor examined the children and found that they were indeed poisoned. "Madam, we found nitrite in the children's stomachs. It looks like a substance that would only appear in ordinary food poisoning. However, the amount is a bit large. It should be because they directly ingested too much nitrite." "Was it poisoned?" Lin Che said. "It's very likely," the doctor said. Lin Che pinched his chin and stood there watching. Gu Xinian said, "Mom, what do we do now?" Lin Che said, "The media has already reported it. They're doing this on purpose to make it difficult for us to deal with it secretly. We can only deal with it. Can't we block the media? If we block it now, it will only make people speculate more. It's better to apologize truthfully," Lin Che said. Gu Xinian said, "This person is too bad. She actually did this to such young children." Lin Che nodded. "Looks like if we don't deal with her properly, we won't be able to live in peace." However, it had to be said that this Xue Mingqi was really scheming. She targeted their kindergarten time and time again. She found a weakness and concentrated all her methods to frame them. Lin Che thought about how to counterattack. But outside, the parents had already caught up. "No, why are you stopping me? We want to see the principal. Our children are fine. How could they be poisoned here? Why didn't you send them to the hospital for treatment? What do you mean by treating them here? If anything happens, can you take responsibility?" Chapter 1335. Lin Che walked out immediately. "Parents, I understand your worries." "What do you understand? The child isn't yours." "Of course you won't be worried," an anxious mother interrupted her. "That's right. You're just a celebrity. Do you think you know everything just because you opened a kindergarten? How would you know if you've never had a child?" The fact that Lin Che had a child had not been exposed yet. Naturally, no one knew that Lin Che's own son was here too. Moreover, he was living in danger every day. Lin Che said, "Believe me, I can really understand you mothers. Even if you think that I can't understand, for the reputation of the kindergarten, I will definitely not let anything happen to your children. For the sake of my own conscience, I will definitely do my best. If we don't believe you, take our children to the hospital. Hurry up. I don't want you idiots to treat our children. We want to go to a big hospital and find an expert doctor to treat our children. Yes, you must take full responsibility." Lin Che said, "A big hospital, right? What if I promise you that the place I'll take you to is better than any big hospital?" "Ah, we don't believe you. Don't try to lie to us and take us to some place with some folk prescription." "Definitely not," Lin Che said immediately. "Let's not waste any more time. The most important thing is to give the child the best treatment, isn't it?" Lin Che waved his hand and said to them, "Contact Dr. Chen. We'll bring the child there immediately." Yes. Naturally, the parents had to follow along. When they arrived, they realized that they had actually come to the research institute. They could not understand the cutting-edge equipment inside. It looked like a high-tech concentration camp. There were very few people, but there were many nurses and doctors. "Hey, there are so many doctors and so few people. What kind of lousy hospital are you bringing us to?" A mother who did not understand asked from behind. Everyone was used to the medical environment in Country C. There were too many people and not enough hospitals. As a result, the hospital was overcrowded. The better the hospital, the more people there were. But there was not a single person here. How could this place be good? If it was a good place, it would have been full. However, it was not. Lin Che didn't say anything and directly led them in. Finally, a parent who understood said, "Here, I know this place. This isn't a hospital, this is a research institute. The doctors here are all PhD researchers. They're really amazing." The one who spoke was a father who was carrying a child. He immediately hugged the child and said, "Are we going to treat him here?" "Yes." Behind her, her mother quickly said, "What doctorate? This is the most advanced technology. Don't talk nonsense if you don't understand. There are so many people outside who can't come in for treatment even if they have money. So let's treat our child first." When the people behind heard that it was so powerful, they hurriedly said, "Treat us first. Why is our child so weak?" Actually, although they were suffering from food poisoning, the doctor had already taken a look at them, so they were fine. However, their parents definitely wouldn't agree, so Lin Che brought them here for treatment. After settling down the parents, Lin Che heaved a sigh of relief. Standing there, she thought about how she should handle this matter. When they returned to kindergarten, everyone was still thinking about what to do. Lin Che encouraged everyone. Then she went back to rest in exhaustion. The next day, unexpectedly, the kindergarten suddenly made the headlines. It was said to be the best kindergarten in Country C. Someone specially came to explain how big the kindergarten's facilities were, how many teachers there were, and what kind of background each teacher had. Damn, this specially hired teacher is a French pianist. They actually have a swimming pool. I've already dug out the tuition list. The tuition isn't as expensive as I thought. It's only 130,000 a year. Damn, what do you mean it's not as expensive as I thought? 100,000 for a kindergarten? Carrot, with this level of teaching, 130,000 is really cheap. Do you know how much that French pianist's piano lessons cost? One lesson. Take note, one lesson costs 100,000. Damn, this is daylight robbery. At the same time, Li Mingyu immediately came looking for him. What's going on, Lin Che? I just went out to play for 2 days and something happened at our kindergarten. What do you mean by our kindergarten? Although Li Mingyu begged to join and was considered one of the shareholders, who would argue with him? Something did happen, but the main point is that everyone is digging into our kindergarten's background. The Xuemingqi is really too much. She helped us advertise for free. Lin Che felt a headache when he thought about it, especially when he saw the netizens making such bold guesses. They guessed that it was related to the president. In the end, it was indeed related to Mr. President. Mr. President's child was studying here, so it didn't matter. However, the news media still didn't dare to expose this news. It was related to the safety of Mr. President's daughter. They were worried that if it was exposed, it would cause some danger. Li Mingyu said, "Seriously, is there something wrong with the Gu family? How dare they cause trouble for me?" "Sai, what do you mean by cause trouble? I have money here too." "Alright, you can be angry, but let's agree that you can't cause trouble." Lin Che didn't want him to cause more trouble. If everyone knew, it wouldn't be good for the children. Originally, the original intention of building this kindergarten was for the children's safety. Now that some of the news had been exposed by Xue Mingqi, she already felt a headache. Li Mingyu said, "Don't worry, how can I cause trouble? I'm just going to ask the Gu family first. What do you mean by this is part of their family? This kindergarten is opened by me and you. It has nothing to do with them." What did he mean by opening it with her? There were several partners. At this moment, Black Eagle also stepped in. "Count me in. I have a share here too." He actually said that it's his family's. Does he mean that my Black Eagle's property is also his family's? Sigh, you guys. Without waiting for Lin Che to organize, Li Mingyu had already hooked his arm around Black Eagle's shoulder. "That's right. Let's go and ask them what they mean." In an instant, the two troublemakers were mixed together. Looking at them with their arms around each other's shoulders, Lin Che felt a headache. One was enough for her, and this matter involved both of them at once. They wouldn't really go to the Gu family, would they? However, when it came to these two people, nothing was impossible. They went straight to the Gu family's residence. Without saying anything, the two of them squatted down at the Gu family's headquarters, causing the entire Gu family to tense up. Chapter 1336. "Miss Xue, hurry up and take a look. They're in the living room. There's nothing we can do." Xue Mingqi frowned. Since when did the two of them get together? Didn't they have a falling out previously? Didn't their collaboration go to waste? But that was many years ago. After that, they didn't contact each other for many years. Now that they were suddenly standing together, it was really a little strange. The two of them sat there and the whole living room seemed very stifling. The helper went to pour some tea. Black Hawk raised his head and said, "Which one of you is in charge of this? Send someone over. Someone else, just hang around in front of me. Do you hear me?" When the helper heard that, she was so scared that she trembled. "Our Miss Xue is busy." The helper felt that her lie had been seen through. When she saw Black Hawk raise his eyes, she felt like she was going to die. Li Mingyu saw that and said, "Hey Black Hawk, don't scare her. Look, she's just a helper, not Xue Mingqi. What kind of look is that? The last time you skinned her alive, you had that look in your eyes. You scared me to death. You're not going to skin her alive today, are you?" The helper was so scared that she almost peed her pants. Black Hawk glared at her. "Why do you have so much nonsense to say? Don't look at me. When you look at me, I'm going to be scared to death." Li Mingyu pretended to be scared. The helper hurriedly said, "I'll go and inform Miss Xue." "Inform Miss Xue." Trembling, the helper left. Xue Mingqi walked over and smiled. "It's really an honor for the two of you to come here. It's just that I don't know why the two of you are here." Black Hawk looked up and said, "Don't play dumb with me. Did you cause the incident at the kindergarten? My daughter is in class. If anything happens to her, let me tell you, I've never skinned someone alive before, but I don't mind giving it a try." Xue Mingqi felt a chill down her spine. However, he quickly came back to his senses. He was just saying it casually, he wouldn't really skin him alive. "What kindergarten? Don't get too worked up, Mr. Mo. Don't just jump to conclusions based on rumors like this. I know that Lin Che is your sister, so you're definitely on her side, but you haven't known each other for long. It's not that I don't want to say this, but it's best if you're not careful and don't get used by others. This is an internal dispute within the Gu family, it's considered a civil war." Black Hawk curled his lips, his pitch-black eyes filled with cold mockery. "Are you trying to sow discord?" Xue Mingqi was worthy of being called Xue Mingqi. She was so good at talking. Every sentence she said was a trap. She even wanted to get rid of herself so cleanly. She had a look of carelessly mentioning it, but her sharp blade was directly aimed at Lin Che. However, Black Hawk seemed to have seen through him. It would be a little difficult to drive a wedge between him and Lin Che, because she did not understand them at all. "How is that possible? I'm driving a wedge between you. You are brother and sister, why would I drive a wedge between you?" Black Hawk said. "Moreover, what are you talking about? This is an internal dispute within the Gu family. You should understand that I have a stake in the kindergarten. It's run by me and Lin Che together. It has nothing to do with the Gu family. Now you came to my kindergarten to poison it and want us to return it to the Gu family. Do you think I can sit still?" "What, he had a stake in it?" Seeing this, Li Mingyu quickly joined in. "That's right, you're looking down on us. I invested a lot in it too. When did it belong to the Gu family?" Xue Mingqi was speechless again. They had investigated the background of the kindergarten, but they couldn't find anything. Since it was run by Lin Che, it must be Gu Jing's money. He was so rich, how could he afford it? So they didn't investigate it further. But now they were telling her that the kindergarten belonged to the two people in front of her. What about her? Xuemingqi rolled her eyes. We just want Lin Che to explain the funds for the kindergarten. We didn't say that it belongs to us. We started it together. Why do we have to explain the funds to you? Li Mingyu said. Xuemingqi paused. Well, I, Black Hawk, used my own money to run a kindergarten. Why do I have to explain the funds? I didn't? Then what do you mean? I don't care what you say now. I want you to give me an explanation. Xuemingqi was completely speechless. Because the two of them wouldn't let her say it anyway. In the end, Xuemingqi apologized and saw them off. Black Hawk and Li Mingyu snorted and walked out. Xuemingqi bit her lip in the back. Finally, after sending off the two of them, she turned around and gave her younger brother from the Gu family a slap. Ouch, sister, why did you hit me? Xuemingqi turned around, her face ashen. Her fury was written all over her face. Why did we hit you? If you still have the nerve to say that? Why didn't we find out about the funds? It was all done by these people together. You actually didn't know, causing us to provoke these two people. We almost couldn't get rid of them. She had been humiliated for no reason. Just now, she apologized and gave them a lot of benefits before sending them off. Both of them were scoundrels. It wasn't easy to get rid of them. Only after giving them 2 pieces of land did they leave in satisfaction. He also promised them that they would apologize and that they would never do anything to the kindergarten again. She really wanted to tear down the kindergarten. However, there were so many people behind this small kindergarten. She naturally knew that she couldn't do anything. The servants outside sent the two of them away. After they left, Li Mingyu said, "This Xuemingqi is really powerful. She has supported the Gu family until now." Black Hawk said, "I don't think she's a threat. She can get rid of her sooner or later." Only then did he remember that he and Li Mingyu hadn't contacted each other for many years. Because they had cooperated and betrayed each other, it was basically a fight. Just now, Li Mingyu looked very familiar, as if he had forgotten how they almost killed each other in the past. "Humph, I'll go back first." Black Hawk was the first to pull a long face. "Tisk, I'll go back too. But you don't have to look at me like that. How many years has it been? You are Lin Che's brother after all. I'm so close to Lin Che, I definitely won't mistreat you." Black Hawk rolled his eyes at him as if he cared about him. However, since he was indeed on Lin Che's side, Black Hawk wouldn't continue to quarrel with him. Li Mingyu really felt that he could reconcile with many people for Lin Che. Moreover, he was Lin Che's brother. It couldn't be helped. Lin Che was just so charming. He had been waiting for Lin Che to come. Chapter 1337. Xuemingqi returned to her room and glared at the people in front of her angrily. Everyone was still rejoicing that Black Eagle and Li Mingyu had finally left. "Mingqi, it's better to clarify things in the future before you act. Just like today you offended someone you shouldn't offend." Xuemingqi listened to the nagging relatives and looked up. "Grandpa Fan, there are still people who shouldn't be offended in front of the Gu family. I'm not saying that kind of people are not to be trifled with. I'm saying look at these two people. If you fight with them, it's like hurting the enemy by 1,000 and hurting yourself by 800. They usually have no bottom line. What's the point of fighting with them?" "That's right." Someone else agreed. "Let's forget about this kindergarten. It's just a small kindergarten. I didn't expect Lin Che to be so capable." "That's right. Normal people wouldn't think of this. Think about it. Start with these children and slowly nurture them. They'll all be our people in the future. Moreover, because of these children, the adults will be on good terms with them. Don't you think so?" "That's right. That's how connections are made. No wonder Lin Che can hold on to Gu Jingzi so tightly. That's how she is. Li Mingyu is so close to her. They used to be enemies but now they've become friends." Xuemingqi heard them speaking to Lin Che. The anger in her heart was about to burn her rationality. If things continued to develop like this, would they regret splitting from the family? No. Xuemingqi thought that she had to do something. "Actually, we don't need to innovate. No matter what, if they can do it, we can do it too." Xuemingqi smiled. "If she can do it with her little influence, of course we can. Why don't we just do whatever she does in the future?" "That's degrading." The relatives still wanted to save face. Xuemingqi smiled. "This is the simplest and the least likely to go wrong. She won't be able to do anything to us. If we take away her job, she can only be anxious." Everyone thought about it and agreed. Xuemingqi smiled. "Lin Che is nothing. With the power of the Gu family, what can't we do?" On the other side, Lin Che felt very tired after finishing the kindergarten. Seeing that the kindergarten had regained much of its liveliness, he felt a little more comforted. Some of the parents were still curious, not knowing what had happened. In order to comfort these parents, the teachers also put in some effort. Lin Che felt a little tired, so he dismissed everyone. "Dong, you don't have to follow me. I'll walk by myself." Dongzi said, "Miss, will it be dangerous?" "Don't worry, I'm wearing a disguise. No one will see me." There were always so many people following him, and he wanted to relax occasionally. Dongzi had no choice but to nod his head. Lin Che wore a hat and a mask. He walked on the road and looked to the side. The children had just finished school. Some parents were waiting there, chatting as they prepared to pick up their children. For a moment the sky changed. It seemed like it was going to rain. Rumbling sounds of thunder could be heard. Lin Che looked at it, put on his hat and continued walking. If she hadn't met Gu Jingze, she might have married an ordinary man and lived a peaceful life because of the Lin family. Actually, this kind of peaceful life was also very good, but without Gu Jingze, she thought about waking up next to another man and eating with another man. She felt that this kind of life was unbearable. So, she decided not to think about it. She chose the present. She chose Gu Jingze. Then she could bear all the tiredness. Just then she saw a man nagging at his wife. "Look at you. You're a few minutes late and didn't pick up the children." The woman said indignantly, "It's just a few minutes. It's going to rain soon. What if the children get wet in a few minutes? It'll be hard to walk after it rains. It hasn't rained yet. You have nothing to do at home every day. It's just a few minutes. Can't you come earlier?" "Why do I have nothing to do at home? Other than going to work, you leave everything to me. Ha, isn't it tiring to earn money? Come and try to raise a family. Try to take care of the children. There are so many trivial things. Humph, let me tell you, you can't stand it after one day." "Hey, what trivial things? You'll be fine after the children go to kindergarten." "Humph, I can't talk to you." The two of them quarreled as they went to pick up the children. Lin Che looked at their backs and thought, maybe this isn't peaceful. Although she always felt that she was useless, Gu Jingze had always thought that she was a good person. He would never bear to let her do anything, and he would never scold her like this. In comparison, Gu Jingze was really different from other men. Other men seemed to think that women did nothing every day, but Gu Jingze always thought that she was really tired when she did something. She shook her head helplessly. In the end, Gu Jingze was still too good to her. Lin Che thought and felt even more amused. At this time, bean-sized raindrops fell from the sky, hitting his face so hard that it hurt. Lin Che hurriedly walked forward. Her phone rang. It was Gu Jingze. She quickly picked up the phone. "Lin Che, it's raining. Dongzi said that you went out for a walk. Did you not bring an umbrella?" Lin Che nodded. "Yes, I didn't bring one." After a moment of silence, Gu Jingze said, "Where are you?" "I'll go and pick you up." "Near the Wanhong building." "Okay, I'll be right there." Lin Che stood there and waited. After a while, a low-key Mercedes drove over. Gu Jingze got out of the car. Lin Che didn't remember having this car at home. It looked like it was only 1,000,000 yuan. It couldn't be Gu Jingze's. "Where did you get this car?" she asked. Gu Jingze closed the car door. "It's Qin Hao's." "Oh, okay." Outsiders would be envious of Gu Jingze's assistant for driving such 1,000,000 yuan car. However, Qin Hao had been by Gu Jingze's side for so many years, so he still had a net worth. Gu Jingze opened the umbrella and said, "Are we going back now?" Lin Che said, "No. We're out anyway. It's rare that they aren't following us. Let's walk." Walking in the rain was also a kind of feeling. Gu Jingze smiled. Holding the umbrella, he hugged her and walked forward. Lin Che leaned into his embrace. She felt that his scent seemed to be stronger in the rain. She glanced sideways and saw that the rain was falling on his shoulders. Because the umbrella was tilted more towards her side, she wasn't wet at all, but his was. The rain became even heavier in an instant. She said, "Let's find a place to hide." Chapter 1338. The car was already far away and they would probably get wet if they went back. Lin Che saw a huge internet cafe over there. She called out, "Let's go inside." Gu Jingze's hand was pulled into the cafe. Gu Jingze looked around. There weren't many people here and the decorations were exquisite, but he couldn't take a closer look. It had a little smell that made it seem like a place with a lot of people. Lin Che took a look and went to apply for an ID card. 2 people. "Okay. Do you want to recharge your card?" "I don't need it, thanks." The cashier looked up and glanced at her. She felt that she looked familiar in her sunglasses, but she didn't notice anything else. She looked down at the ID card and gave it to the two people. But before she left she said, "That girl is so pretty. She looks like a celebrity." Then she looked at the person whose ID card was scanned. Lin Che? What? Was that for real? The staff was a little shocked. The two of them asked for a private room and sat down. Lin Che said, "Not bad. It's quite clean here." Gu Jingzi said, "Are you kidding?" He could clearly smell the smell of smoke and it was clean. Lin Che said, "Don't worry. You haven't seen the old internet cafes. They were ugly. This one is clean enough." Sitting down, Lin Che smiled and said, "Why don't we play a game? Whoever loses has to go to the opposite room and confess. What do you think?" "Confess?" Gu Jingzi looked at her. "Just say you want to confess." What did he mean? Did he mean that she would definitely lose? Lin Che raised his fist. You can't be good at all games. Just you wait." The two of them looked at each other and smiled. Lin Che immediately turned on the computer and played a game. This time it wasn't his own game. It was a small game dance machine. It was a manual dance machine. Lin Che said, Let's try." Lin Che went up and started playing. Lin Che was very good at this game when he was young, so he chose it first. However, Gu Jingzi took a look at the screen and sat down. Then he started to play. Lin Che glanced sideways. Gu Jingzi's hand speed. "Holy shit, I can't even see my fingers anymore." Lin Che rolled his eyes and hurriedly said, we're just here to give it a try. I think this is too easy. Let's change to another game." Gu Jingzi looked at her and smiled dotingly. "Okay." Lin Che immediately started searching again and soon found a small game. "Please close your eyes when it gets dark." Lin Che chuckled. This definitely wasn't a test of hand speed. She looked at Gu Jingzi. "Why are your hands so fast?" Gu Jingzi said, "I learned piano for a few years when I was young. It's nothing compared to piano." "All right." Lin Che thought to himself, "Let's see what you can do this time since I've chosen one that doesn't require hand speed." After opening it he went straight in. She didn't explain the rules to Gu Jingzi. She said directly, "Whoever loses has to confess. Alright, there's no need to watch anymore. Let's play by ourselves. Please close your eyes when it's dark." This was the werewolf kill that many people often played nowadays. Back in the day many people played this game and there were still some loyal players killing time in it. All of a sudden the players started talking. Some jumped the police, some were onlookers and some were rioters. Of course there were also people like Gu Jingzi, who entered the game without saying a word. Those who didn't speak were usually treated as police officers or killers. All of a sudden someone said in the first round, "There's someone who doesn't speak. I think he's the murderer. Vote for him." The others naturally responded. Anyway, they wouldn't lose anything if they voted for him. It wasn't that important to lose one or two people in the beginning. Lin Che looked at the crowd. She couldn't see anything and she didn't know what he was doing. Anyway, if he voted for him he would win. So she immediately echoed, "Yes, yes. Vote for him. Vote for him." However, when it was time to vote he realized that no one voted for him. Suddenly it was the second round. This time someone brought a vote and wanted to vote for him. She thought that there would be no more voices, but unexpectedly at this moment, Gu Jingzi suddenly typed a string of words. CFG are the murderer, KVT are the police and the rest are the crowd. All right. All of a sudden, everyone was a little stunned. Lin Che felt that something was wrong and immediately turned around. She saw the man beside her lightly pinching his chin. His confident look made people speechless. Annoying. Since he had already found out, what was the point of playing? She immediately pouted. "I'm not playing anymore. I can't beat you in anything." Gu Jingzi smiled and turned around, pinching her cheek. "You want to beat me so badly?" Lin Che supported her chin and looked at him. "No, I just feel that I'm so defeated." Gu Jingzi said, "Then tell me, what can I do to make you not feel defeated?" Lin Che rolled her eyes. "Then, go and confess to the other side." Gu Jingzi said, "You just want to see me make a fool of myself, right?" Lin Che smiled brightly. Why would I? Why would I?" Gu Jingzi looked at it and stood up. "All right." Lin Che looked at him. He really wanted to go. She immediately followed him happily, wanting to know how he was going to confess. Gu Jingzi usually didn't even know how to joke. How could he play this kind of game? Gu Jingzi walked over and knocked on the door. The door opened. There was also a couple inside. This kind of private room was usually used by couples to play together. It was more secretive and could be used to do private things. The people inside looked at Gu Jingzi and paused slightly. Gu Jingzi said, "Hello, sorry to disturb you. Looking at Gu Jingza's handsome face, the two suddenly forgot how to speak. What? He's so handsome. He can't be a salesman, right? The girl thought. With such a handsome salesman, no matter what he was selling, she really wanted to buy it. But at this moment, Gu Jingza said softly, "My wife told me to confess. If I don't, she won't let me go home. I'm sorry, I can only confess. Madam, you're very beautiful. There must be many people who like you." The girl was stunned and her face turned red. Wow, he said she was beautiful when he confessed. Her heart started to beat faster. However, thinking back, what did he mean by his wife said? He said it so seriously, so he was joking with his wife. Lin Che was speechless when he saw this and quickly ran over. Sorry, we were just joking." The girl inside took a look. She immediately screamed, "Wow, Lin Che." Chapter 1339. Lin Che had forgotten that he hadn't been wearing his glasses. Being discovered in an instant, Zhang Xian was stunned. Then he realized that he wouldn't be able to see them anyway, so he smiled generously and said, "Oh, hello. Wow, it's really Lin Che." The girl jumped up excitedly. She looked at Lin Che quickly and took out her phone to ask if she could take a picture with him. Sure. Of course we can." Gu Jingza became the background. He smiled faintly with his hands in his pockets as he watched Lin Che interact with the fans. The man next to him didn't like to chase celebrities, but he noticed him immediately. He pulled his girlfriend and asked, "Oh, is Lin Che married?" Only then did the girl remember. She immediately looked up and said, "Ah, marriage?" She looked at Lin Che and Gu Jingza and then reacted. "You're married?" Lin Che looked up and looked at Gu Jingza. They had kept their marriage a secret for a long time because they didn't want to be so troublesome. However, if they were seen, they wouldn't want to hide it. Yeah. Lin Che admitted it generously. The girl was even more surprised. She covered her mouth and said, "No way. We didn't say anything." "Yeah, we didn't say anything." Lin Che smiled. "Wow, I found such a big piece of gossip." "Oh my god, no Lin Che, I won't tell anyone." "Did you keep your marriage a secret and don't want people to know?" Lin Che smiled and held Gu Jingza's arm. When the two of them leaned against each other intimately, it really made people feel that they were a good match and should be husband and wife. When she looked up at Gu Jingza, the smile in her eyes was filled with happiness. "No, I won't tell anyone if no one asks. Our marriage has nothing to do with my work." "Really? Then can I tell others?" "It doesn't matter. You just need to sell it to the news agency." "Of course not. I just want to tell my friend." Lin Che smiled. "Enjoy yourselves then. We'll leave first and won't disturb you." All right. You guys go ahead." The girl walked over and was still saying, so handsome. Lin Che's husband is so handsome." Gu Jingza looked back too. Oh, he was Lin Che's husband now. She had heard so many people call her Mrs. Gu. Now that she heard that he was Lin Che's husband, the feeling was really different. The two of them finished playing here and strolled back together. At this time, Yu Minmin sent her a document, saying that it was a script adapted from a new novel. Lin Che opened it and saw that it was a rather powerful novel. She had heard of the name before. She asked Yu Minmin on WeChat, "Should we accept this?" Yu Minmin said, "Take a look first. I think it's not bad. We can give it a try." It was a fantasy drama. This type of drama was more popular now. Moreover, this fantasy drama was different from the others. It wasn't the type that was especially xianxia. Instead, it was more of a brain-burning type. It was more about fighting. She flipped through it and put it away. Gu Jingza said, "What's wrong? Do you have another script to accept?" "Yeah. Let me see." Lin Che showed it to him. Gu Jingza said, "It looks good." Lin Che said, "You said it wasn't bad when you saw the name. Immortal Concealment. Just by looking at the name, it doesn't seem that stupid." Tisk. However, Gu Jingza immediately saw another line of introduction. This was because these types of scripts would first mention something special about the plot. Hence, the script mentioned that there were 3 sex scenes. Gu Jingza's eyes darkened. "Although it's not stupid, it's vulgar. I won't accept it." After saying that, Gu Jingza was about to delete it. "Ah? What?" Seeing that he had actually pressed the delete button, Lin Che panicked. What was going on? Why did he delete it so quickly? "I haven't seen it yet. There's nothing to see. Let's go." Gu Jingza pulled her up and left. Lin Che was speechless. The rain had stopped and the humid air made them feel very comfortable. They temporarily forgot about the busy work and walked home together. However, on the second day, When they reached the office, Yu Minmin said, "What do you think of the script? I found you a very popular male lead recently. He'll definitely be popular. This plot is very special. You can shoot a drama and a movie together. It'll definitely be a win-win situation." Lin Che said, "Ah, really? That's amazing, of course. Who knows, you might even get an award." But what? But Gu Jingze deleted it. He said that it's vulgar." Yu Minmin said gloomily, "No way. How is it vulgar? It's so good and it's so brain-draining. There are so many plots and climaxes. It's a great plot and it doesn't drag at all." It was rare for Yu Minmin to have such a highly rated work. Suddenly Lin Che felt a little reluctant. "Then send me another one." Okay. Go back and think about it carefully." "I will." Just then someone rushed in from outside and almost knocked into them. When they looked up and saw Yu Minmin and Lin Che, they hurriedly said, Sorry Sister Che." Yu Minmin said, "Why are you so flustered? What if you bump into someone in the office?" The person was speechless. "Don't talk about it. I don't know what happened to the new assistant of Qing Yuantu. He said that Qing Yuantu is acting like a big shot." Seriously? The new assistant was none other than Wu Liulian. Lin Che frowned. "What's going on the other side?" Wu Liulian said straightforwardly, "We are celebrities that you invited. How can we be treated like this? Seriously?" Wu Liulian had been an assistant for a few days. An assistant's job was more complicated. She mainly listened to the manager's instructions and took care of the artist's daily chores. Qing Yuantu had just debuted. Although he had some achievements, it was his first time having an assistant. In the past, he had always been taken care of by his manager. Hence, he didn't have much of an impression of an assistant. He just asked someone to order food and remind him of his schedule. Unexpectedly, Wu Liulian's goal wasn't to be an assistant. She wanted to be an artist. Hence, after joining the crew, she was especially interested in those famous artists and directors. Today, because they directly arranged for Qing Yuantu to stay in a different hotel which was full of people, she immediately disagreed with the idea of staying here for the night. She wanted to interact with those people more. Why was she being isolated? What was the meaning of this? She was very unhappy and immediately started to act like a big shot. When the other party saw this, he explained to her, "We are only staying for 2 days. The suite over there has been vacated and we will give it to you. Just bear with it and understand each other." Don't try to lie to me. Even if you let us stay, you won't allow us to go to that hotel tomorrow. How did we offend you? You want to isolate us. Don't play such tricks in front of me. No, we won't stay here. Chapter 1340. Wu Liulian was furious. They were celebrities too. Why did they have to be sent to other places? Actually, after being an assistant for a few days, she really felt that this celebrity was so humble because she wasn't popular. She wasn't like Lin Che at all. Wherever he went, people would compliment him. She really couldn't accept it. She even said to Qing Yuantu, "Look at you. He's a celebrity too. You're also a celebrity. How can you be so disappointing? You don't need to care about other people's opinions." However, Qing Yuantu said, "Only by being humble can we survive. The bigger the celebrity, the more humble they are." Wu Liulian didn't believe it. It was just that he wasn't popular enough. "Then why isn't Lin Che like this?" Wu Liulian said. "Don't you know how humble Sis Che is to outsiders? But Sis Che's current status is sufficient. So, no matter how humble she tries to be, others will still flatter her and be afraid of her. You won't be able to feel it. But when have you ever seen Sis Che act like a big shot? No, she's not like that. Don't think that I don't know her." Wu Liulian felt that being a celebrity was much more useless than she had thought. So, she thought to herself, if you don't live up to expectations, I have to live up to expectations. I'm a celebrity after all. Why should I care about other people's opinions? So, she immediately started arguing with the production crew. The production crew looked at Wu Liulian speechlessly. "Think of a way then. I can only do this. There really aren't any rooms there. I have to tell the director." "Hey, the director doesn't care about everything. Why do you have to go to the director for such a small matter?" The production crew was speechless. They had no choice but to get someone to look for Lin Che's agency. They said that the assistant here was too arrogant and they couldn't afford it. Qing Yuantu didn't know about this. Meanwhile, Lin Che had already heard the news. Yu Minmin called Lin Che. "This Wu Liulian is really arrogant. She offended the production crew just like that. It's only been a few days." Lin Che said, she will ruin Qing Yuantu's future. If her reputation in the industry is bad, it will spread easily. Yeah. Forget it, I'll go and take a look. Are you going there yourself? Yu Minmin asked. Lin Che said, I was the one who sent him. If I don't go, I'll be harming Qing Yuantu. Okay, I'll go over for a while. All right. Half an hour later, Lin Che arrived at the set. The crew members were still discussing. There were indeed quite a lot of people in the industry, but since he had encountered one, he had to give it a good roast. At this moment, someone outside said, Lin Che is here. Lin Che had arrived. They reported the matter to Lin Che's studio, but they didn't expect that Lin Che would be alarmed. All of a sudden, they rushed out to see what was going on. When Lin Che arrived, he first went to look for Wu Liulian. Upon hearing that Lin Che was here, Wu Liulian thought that she was here to seek justice for Qing Yuantu. She hurriedly said, I knew it. Our studio wouldn't let you off so easily. How dare you bully us like this? However, the moment she stepped out, she saw Lin Che looking at Wu Liulian with a taut face. You have to come with me to the set to apologize. Wu Liulian was stunned. She thought that she had heard wrongly. What? Lin Che said straightforwardly, let's go. Because of your bad attitude, you have delayed the set schedule. So, you have to come with me to apologize. This time Wu Liulian knew that she hadn't heard wrongly. But what did that mean? No way. Sister, how did they treat us? They bullied us like this. Aren't they not giving you face? What did you say? You want me to go and apologize? I'm not going. Lin Che lowered his voice. His expression was stern and cold. In an instant Wu Liulian felt a little scared. However, she was her relative after all. She probably wouldn't do anything to her. Although Lin Che was really powerful and felt that it was extremely easy for him to kill someone, she didn't think that he would really do anything to her. Wu Liulian was a little afraid. She looked at Lin Che and said, Sister Che, let's go. Lin Che didn't waste any time and just glanced at her. Wu Liulian hurriedly followed him. At the set, Lin Che went in and a few people came forward to welcome him. Sister Che, why are you here? Why didn't you inform us? Look at the mess here. Lin Che smiled at them and said, Sorry for wasting your time. I heard that something happened to one of our artists, so I brought someone over to apologize. Everyone looked at Lin Che in surprise. They all said that Lin Che's studio was reliable. They didn't expect that Lin Che would personally come over to apologize when there was a problem with his assistant. No wonder he had such a good reputation. Wu Liulian looked at them from behind and was very unhappy. She stood there with a look of reluctance. I'm sorry. The few of them could tell that she was unwilling. However, since Lin Che had already come personally, they didn't have any complaints. They only thought to themselves that this rat shit had almost ruined the reputation of Lin Che's studio. Luckily, Lin Che was considerate and had a high EQ. Everyone said, it's okay. She's a newcomer. She doesn't understand yet. She'll get better in the future. After Lin Che apologized, he left with Wu Liulian. When they were outside, he said to Wu Liulian, Don't come to the set for now. It's better for you to go back and reflect on yourself. Wu Liulian said, Sister, don't do it. I'll really do it well. I won't do it again. Asking her to leave the set, it wasn't easy for her to get close to this place and she hadn't gotten anything yet. Lin Che said, What else can I do? Look at you. You don't know anything. This won't do. I'll learn slowly. Really, I won't quarrel with others anymore. I know I was wrong. Lin Che narrowed his eyes and looked at her. If you really know, then go back and reflect on yourself for a few days. If your attitude is okay, then come back. Wu Liulian still wanted to say something. This is the bottom line. If you do something wrong, you will be punished, Lin Che added. Hearing this, Wu Liulian could only grit her teeth and agree. However, when she went back, she immediately threw herself into Su Fan's arms and cried. This Lin Che doesn't care about our family at all. He wants me to come back and reflect on myself. It's so embarrassing. How can he do this to me? I didn't do anything wrong, but he wants me to come back and reflect on myself. All right. Take your time and tell me what happened. Wu Liulian told her what had happened. Su Fan said, What should we do? Lin Che went to apologize. It looks like it's quite important. It's probably not easy to be a celebrity. You better think about it. Impossible. Lin Che is just timid. Haven't you seen how big the other celebrities are? Su Fan couldn't win against her in an argument. She could only comfort her, then it's because they're not big enough. Wu Liulian thought that when she went back, she would work hard again. This time she would definitely climb up. She wouldn't have to be dependent on others in the future. Chapter 1341. Wu Lu Lian returned to the set after a few days. This time she was much more careful. Qing Yuantu had already moved to the hotel where the crew was staying. Wu Lu Lian arrived at the hotel immediately and checked in happily. Naturally, the assistant's room was different from the actors. Wu Lu Lian shared a room with another assistant. The assistant knew about the relationship between Wu Liulian and Lin Che because Wu Liulian had bragged about it a long time ago. She also knew that Wu Liulian had been punished to face the wall and reflect on her actions. However, Wu Liulian was here again. After all, he was her relative. If it was another assistant. However, there were no bad assistants in the studio. They were very strict when choosing. Hence, she did not have a good relationship with the assistant and Wu Liulian could not be bothered with her. Humph, you have no ambition. I wish you the rest of your life as an assistant. Wu Liulian snorted as she looked at the assistant's back. She found out which room the director was staying in. Seeing that the assistant had gone to take a shower, she changed into a translucent outfit and went straight to the director's room. Who is it? The director asked when he heard the door being opened. Director, are you asleep? I'm here to bring you some fruits. She had already prepared some fruits. In fact, she had even prepared herself for the director. The director was very familiar with such things. He opened the door slightly and saw that it was a girl he did not know. He did not want to give her any face. What are you doing? Director, I am Lin Che's assistant. She blinked her eyes, coquettishly revealing half of her chaotic origin. That young lady's fragrance was indeed tempting. As the director looked at her, his lower body was indeed unbearable. However, he was worried that he would be tricked. Lin Che's assistant? Who can prove it? The people in Lin Che's studio were very reliable and serious. When did they have such an assistant? Wu Liulian said, Actually, Lin Che and I are sisters. She is the sister of my third aunt. I just came from another city to seek refuge with her. Lin Che's sister. The director looked slightly indifferent. Go back first. I'm not wearing any clothes, so I will not let you in. I will leave the fruits here. In this industry, one was very worried about being schemed against. However, it was hard to reject someone who had come knocking on his door. Wu Liulian was a little disappointed. However, with the previous lesson, she did not dare to be too aggressive. He hurriedly threw down the things and left. After the director went back, the male body was a little irritated. Seriously, he came over to seduce her, but he couldn't. It was too torturous. The next day, the director asked someone to find out if this Wu Liulian was Lin Che's relative. The other party quickly replied, Indeed, but Lin Che was directly thrown here to be an assistant. I don't know what he wants. Wasn't it easy for his sister to debut? Why was she thrown here to be an assistant? The director smiled, indicating that he understood. The next day he took the initiative to give her some hints. Before he left work, he specially went to Qing Yuantu's place to chat with him before he said to Wu Liulian, The fruits you gave me yesterday were not bad. Thank you. Although Wu Liulian wasn't smart, she immediately understood. At night, Wu Liulian directly ran over. In an instant she was on the director's bed. Because it was her first time, the director was shocked. Although he felt that he was very vain and this girl was too young, he was also worried that she would be pestered by others. At that moment, he only wanted to quickly avoid her and did not dare to see her at all. After hiding for a few days, when Wu Liulian first returned, she saw the junior assistant, who was very pleased with herself. Especially when the junior assistant looked at her strangely and asked, You didn't come back last night. Where did you go? Wu Liulian said, What's so good about staying here? I like to stay in a suite. This place is quite good. It's so good that it's near B City. Haven't you been to other filming locations? They are deep in the mountains and wild forests. Wu Liulian said, Haha, I don't want to suffer like that. Lying there, Wu Liulian was still dreaming of a meteoric rise and a beautiful dream of becoming famous overnight. Then, she thought that the director would continuously look for her and give her a role or something. Unexpectedly, the director took a leave of absence for a few days and directly let another assistant director film the scenes. She called the director again, but he did not pick up at all. This time Wu Liulian was anxious. Immediately, there was an uproar in the filming location. Where is the director? I don't believe that he won't come again. Wu Liulian asked an assistant director of the filming location. Actually, the news that Wu Liulian had fallen in love with the director had already spread far and wide. There were no secrets in this industry. The entire filming crew was staying in the same hotel. How could they not find out who went to sleep at someone else's place at night? There would definitely be someone who would run into it. Moreover, they were so loud that the people next door could hear them. However, everyone knew very well that no one wanted to offend the director. Now the assistant director was cursing in his heart. This director had nothing better to do than to run away after he was done with her and let them take the bullet. However, he had no choice but to appease her and say, "Don't mess around. The director has been sick these few days. I don't believe you. Hurry up and find him for me. Didn't I say it already? I don't care. If you don't find him, I won't leave here." The assistant director was really helpless. However, he did not expect that she was really stubborn in this aspect. She would not leave even if she stayed here. Naturally, the news spread even further in an instant. Not long after, even the director's wife knew about it. The director's wife came directly to the filming location. The director's wife was also in the industry. Whirlwind did not know what kind of shrew she had messed with. The director had been in this industry for many years and had caused many troubles outside. However, he did not divorce because his wife was as powerful as she could be. She had him under her thumb. Every time something happened, she would be the one to step in. All of a sudden, as soon as she reached the filming location, she kicked Wu Liulian. After that, she came up and started tearing at her. "You little bitch. You dare to seduce anyone. How dare you knock on someone's door in the middle of the night? Don't you look at your face and you still want to be a star? You still want to be famous? Let me destroy your face. Let's see how you're going to seduce other people's husbands in the future." It hurts. Wulian really could not beat her. Her face was immediately slashed. You're disfigured." She retreated in shock and held her face. When she looked at it, she saw that it was a big patch of blood. She immediately screamed, "Help! She killed someone and disfigured me. Is there anyone who can take care of this?" She immediately rushed out. She did not care if there were reporters outside. There were always a few reporters loitering outside the filming location. When they saw such a good topic, they immediately took pictures. Interesting, really interesting. Such a big filming location. Such a good story had not happened in a long time. Chapter 1342. All of a sudden, this matter blew up in the circle. The reporters had taken pictures. For the sake of their reputation, the production team had spent a lot of money to buy photos. He didn't want the reporters to leak it out. Actually, it was useless for the reporters to expose it. The director, the assistant that he had slept with, and the director's wife, none of them were big shots. Although it would be interesting to expose it, it might not be the focus of attention. It was better to ask for more money. But it had already spread around the circle, and it was no longer a secret. Most importantly, Wu Lulian's face was scratched and she was admitted to the hospital, unable to leave. The director regretted it too. He shouldn't have done it without understanding the situation first. He thought that the girl wasn't someone important and she was from the industry, so he shouldn't have caused any trouble. Who knew that he would end up playing with a virgin? In the hospital, Wu Liulian cried loudly. "Mom, look at my face. What should I do with my face? Will it leave a scar?" The wound wasn't actually that big. The director's wife was quite a shrewd person. She had deliberately scratched a major part of her body, but it didn't really affect her appearance. Even if she sued for disfigurement and intentional injury, she might not win. But in the entertainment industry, a wound like this would make it impossible for her to become a celebrity no matter what. Moreover, Wu Liulian was only a 16-year-old girl. Of course, she would not be able to take it. Sufan's heart ached. She looked at him and said, "I told you to be careful. Look at you now." Sufan was so angry that she wanted to cry. It was one thing for the child to be scratched, but now, that old man was playing with her. As a girl, how was she going to get married in the future? "I don't care. I won't let that bitch go no matter what. Over there." Yu Minmin looked at Lin Che and said, "Now that she's your relative, she won't be famous, will she?" Lin Che said, "I'm not afraid of that. They say that I have a lot of relatives, but do you really think that all of them are like that? The people outside won't talk about it after a few days. I thought that they were going to cause trouble, but I didn't expect that they would really cause trouble this time." Yu Minmin laughed and said, "I don't think he'll be able to stay this time." The corners of Lin Che's lips curled up slightly. Yeah. She had not expected them to cause any trouble. She had not expected Wu Liulian to be so capable. She had caused such a huge incident. In the hospital, Wu Liulian shouted that she wanted to sue that ugly woman to death. So far, the director of the production team had not come to ask about it. Only a few assistant directors of the production team had come to ask about it. I don't care. I want to see the director. If he's alive, I want to see him. If he's dead, I want to see his corpse. If he dares to refuse to see me, I'll spread the news everywhere. Okay. Think about it. It's not good for you if you make a big fuss, right? It's not good for me, and it's even worse for you. Just you wait, I'm going to tell everyone how terrible your crew is, how you beat people up and how you play with people's feelings. Either way, I'm going to tell everyone. The person who came was also very helpless. At this moment, Lin Che had arrived. Seeing that Lin Che had arrived, Wu Yulian immediately jumped off the bed. Just look at how badly they bullied me. My face is ruined. Lin Che looked at her and said, I only want to ask you, back then, who looked for whom first? Did he look for you or did you look for him? Of course he was the one who found me. Wu Yulian lowered her head guiltily. Lin Che snorted, really? How did he know her? There are so many people in the crew. She was just a small assistant. Wu Yulian wrung her hands and said, well, I gave him some fruits once and then he. Lin Che sneered, that means that you were the one who teased him first. He has a wife. If you teased her husband, wouldn't he beat you up? He only broke your face. That's already letting him off lightly. What do you want me to do? Wu Yulian didn't expect Lin Che to say that. You. But she ruined my face. That's because she was in the right first. I'm your relative. Instead of helping me, you're going to help her now? Lin Che said, I'm helping myself, not my relatives. I can't go to the crew and help you indiscriminately. Because you're a mistress first and foremost, do you understand? Mistress? This sentence made Wu Yulian even angrier. Lin Che, you're doing this on purpose. You just don't want to help me. What kind of relative are you? You're helping them but not me. You even called me a mistress. Lin Che snorted, I was kind enough to entertain you and help you find a job in the crew to pay off your debts. It was you who challenged my bottom line time and time again. I've already done what I could. As a relative, I've already done my best. You can do whatever you want to do. You. Su Fan listened on the side, feeling embarrassed and helpless at the same time. She was much more timid than Wu Yulian. She wanted to speak up for her daughter but was afraid of angering Lin Che. She stood there and looked at Lin Che pleadingly, then what should Wu Yulian do? Tell me what to do. Lin Che said, you should be glad that this matter didn't appear in the newspapers because the crew didn't want to make a big deal out of it. Otherwise you'd be famous all over the country by now. By then, no matter where you go, people will know about your past actions. Even if it didn't appear in the newspapers, the entire industry would know about it. It'd be impossible for you to continue working here in the future. What? Wu Yulian's heart sank. In an instant, she leaped up and dashed towards Lin Che. It's you're the one who stopped me. It must be because you don't want me to become a celebrity and steal your job. You want to be high and mighty and don't want your relatives to be better than you. If that's the case, you'll always be the best. Lin Che shook his head and looked at her, you're really scheming. However, Wu Yulian couldn't even touch her. A random person beside Lin Che pressed Wu Yulian onto the ground. Su Fan looked at these powerful people and said hurriedly, let's go now. We'll move out of here. We can't afford to offend you, but we can at least hide from you. Lin Che, please let Yulian off. She's still a child and doesn't know any better. I'll bring her away immediately. Lin Che looked at her and said, second aunt, I won't keep you then. She'll only learn bad things if she stays here. Why don't you go back to school? Yes. Su Fan hurriedly pulled Wu Yulian away. Wu Yulian was unwilling to leave no matter what. She shouted, I'm not leaving. I was wrong. Please give me another chance. You have so many connections, I'm sure you'll find a way. Wu Yulian really didn't want to leave. She hadn't even completed her task and she was unwilling to leave just like that. However, would it be alright just because she said that she wouldn't leave? When they reached the villa, the Gu family had already packed their luggage for them. Are you in such a hurry to chase us away? Wu Yulian raised her head and looked at the villa. This was the first time she had stayed in such a high-class place, and it was also the first time she was served by servants. She really didn't want to leave. She would rather die than go back to that bungalow where even the toilet was so disgusting. I'm not leaving, Mom. Go and tell Lin Che not to chase us away, okay? Su Fan had no choice. Look at what you've done. I've already told you to behave yourself. Chapter 1343. The helper packed up really quickly. Seeing that the two of them had returned, she said, I'm done packing. You can leave now. Su Fan looked and saw that her things, including the household appliances she bought after coming to B City, were all thrown at the door. Her luggage was also there. It looked like she didn't even tidy it up properly before throwing it out. Su Fan said angrily, "What are you doing? Who asked you to touch our things?" "Madam has ordered that you will move out today, so we placed your things here," the helper said. Su Fan was furious, but she could only take her things. Lu Lian said, "Sai, let's go." Seeing that there were so many of them, they wouldn't be able to defeat them. Moreover, this was their place, so they shouldn't stay here. However, Wu Liulian wasn't willing. "Mom, we're not leaving. We're not moving out." Su Fan said, "Look, they've already chased us out. What can we do if we don't leave?" We're not leaving, we're not leaving. Go and beg Lin Che again. I really won't mess around anymore. That's impossible. They've already chased us out. Let's just leave." "No, I don't want to go back to the bungalow and I don't want to go back to our small town. I want to stay in B City. I want to be a celebrity and I want to live in a big villa. Mom, look, there's a bathtub here, so many nice clothes, such a nice bed, and the kitchen is so clean and big. Even the kitchen is bigger than our house. How can you bear to leave?" Su Fan couldn't bear to leave either. These few days she felt like she was in a dream. Wasn't this something that could only be found in heaven? But Lin Che used it every day. She wanted to live like this every day. It was clean and comfortable, but she couldn't. "All right, we're going to close. Do as you please." Just then the door closed behind them. Su Fan said angrily, "Sai, you can't be so unreasonable. How can you chase us out without even telling us?" Su Fan and Wu Liulian looked at their things, and Wu Liulian was so angry that she started crying. Su Fan couldn't do anything about it. She put her hands down and packed her things. She had to think about where to go tonight so that she wouldn't have to sleep on the streets. Just thinking about it gave her a headache. Lin Che finally got rid of this family. At home, Lin Che listened to the servant report that although they were unwilling, they had no other choice but to leave. Lin Che had already sent people to spread the word, saying that although she had arranged a lot of things for them, their children had caused a lot of trouble, so she had no choice but to let it go. She couldn't control them, they were too good at causing trouble. Her relatives would not be able to find fault with her. After all, she had already done her best. Wu Liulian liked to do things on his own. After he was done, Lin Che leaned against the wall and continued to read the script that Yu Minmin had brought over. The script was really well written. It was written about how immortals from all walks of life would fight against each other. It was a Xinxia story, but it was written with great difficulty. It was very enjoyable to watch. Gu Jingze noticed that she was so engrossed in her reading, so he came over to have a look. "What are you looking at?" Lin Che said, "The script." Gu Jingze turned his head to take a look. The title was still very greasy. He immediately thought of the previous hint, bed scene, bed scene. He said, "Didn't I tell you not to film it? Why are you still looking at it?" Lin Che looked up. "I think the script is very well written. Come and take a look." Lin Che passed the script to him. Gu Jingze did not want to look at it at all. He did not care if it was good or not. He only felt that he was uncomfortable if there was a bed scene. In the past, no matter what Lin Che acted in, Gu Jingze had never watched it. Although he knew that it was work and that it was all fake, he still felt uncomfortable watching it. So he decided not to watch it and not think about it. If he didn't think about it, he could pretend that nothing happened. He did not want to interfere with her work at all, nor did he want to be a hindrance to her. However, he could not control his thoughts. Whenever he thought of her talking to another man in the film, he would feel unhappy. But now that he was looking at the script, he knew that she would have intimate scenes with another man these days. How could he not let his thoughts run wild? He might as well not take on this TV series. As he thought of this, he looked at her and said, "Maybe other scripts are better. I don't think this one is good. But I've seen it. It's really good." Lin Che naturally did not know what he was thinking. "How is it good?" "I don't think it's good from the inside out." "Oh, I just read it." "You don't have the expertise in this field, so of course you don't understand. This is a rare good script," Lin Che said. Gu Jingze's delicate eyebrows deeply knitted together. "So you will definitely take on this TV series?" If it's possible, of course I will give it a try. But this TV series is too big. I don't think we can do it on our own. We will have to cooperate with another company." Lin Che was already calculating in her mind. Because there were so many people and the scene was huge, she guessed that their company would not be able to do it alone. Then she would have to cooperate with another company. Then, which company would be able to do it together? While Lin Che was still thinking, Gu Jingze's face had already darkened. "No, you can't do this," Gu Jingze said. Lin Che looked at him in surprise. Gu Jingza never interfered with her work. Why not? I said you can't do it, so you can't do it. Gu Jingza pulled the script domineeringly and threw it into the dustbin at the side. Hey, tell me clearly. Why not? Why did you throw my script? He actually threw it into the dustbin. Lin Che quickly rummaged through the dustbin. Gu Jingza, how could you do this? Why did you throw my script away? Gu Jingza looked at her. What kind of low-class stuff is that? You can do whatever you want. Low-class? Lin Che was shocked. How is it low-class? It's so melodramatic, Gu Jingza said. Lin Che stood there and looked at Gu Jingza. For some reason he felt that Gu Jingza's tone was disdainful. Yes, the domestic environment was not good. Whether it was a TV series or a movie, they were all a level lower than Hollywood. Gu Jingza had seen such great Hollywood movies and TV series, so when he looked at the domestic ones, he felt that they were low-class. Hey, how can you judge our TV series like that? Yes, we're very low-class, but you have to know that we're still developing and need to move forward step by step. In the market economy, didn't you guys start off doing low-end stuff as well? Only when the industrial chain, funds, and consumption catch up can you guys do high-end stuff. Our film industry is the same, but it's just that we've just started. Chapter 1344. But as the boss, you should be able to guide them. Gu Jingza's expressionless face was really hurtful. Lin Che felt wronged for some reason. Biting her lip, she stood there and looked at him. Yeah, we're low class. If you want to be high class, go ahead. You don't know anything and only know how to talk nonsense. Humph, it's fine if you look down on me. I'm not money. Do you expect everyone to like me? You. After Lin Che finished speaking, he walked up the stairs and left. Come back, you woman. Gu Jingza wanted to follow but saw that she had already slammed the door. What the hell? Gu Jingza sat down gloomily. He felt that he had been too impulsive just now. Thinking of her aggrieved expression just now, his heart ached. But then thinking of the bed scene, no, he just didn't want her to do it. He was stubborn now. He didn't want to think about it. He wanted to see if the script was more important in her heart, or if he was more important. Inside, Lin Che looked at the script. What was wrong with it? She felt that it was comparable to the American dramas. The American dramas were just more serious during filming and the audience here wasn't that receptive, so it couldn't be so serious. But he actually said that she was low class. No wonder he never watched her dramas or any of her works. He probably felt that she was too low class and he couldn't be bothered to watch it. But in the past he knew that it was work, so he didn't care about it. But now he directly wanted to control her work and make her high class. Lin Che felt even more wronged. At this moment, Yu Minmin called. Lin Che, how's the script going? It's very good, Lin Che said in a low voice. Hey, why do you sound like that? Yu Minmin realized that something was wrong with her. Lin Che said, nothing? Is that the sound of nothing? Tell me what's wrong. Lin Che sighed. Nothing, I'm just in a bad mood. Let's go out for a drink. Huh? Just the two of us? If not, are you going to call your husband's team? Scram, of course not. Lin Che and Yu Minmin agreed to meet at a place. But when they arrived, they realized Li Mingyu and Mu Firen were also here. Yu Minmin leaned against the wall and smiled. I can't bring my husband's team with me, but I can bring a few friends to have some tea and chat. Lin Che sat down. How did you and Li Mingyu? Li Mingyu said, what's wrong? I'm going to stay in Country C. Can't I get to know the president's wife? Yes, you're the best. Lin Che leaned against the wall. Because he was in a bad mood, he couldn't be bothered with him. The private room they were in was very secluded. Lin Che looked around and said, it's safe here, right? There won't be any paparazzi, right? I don't want to make a fool of myself by being photographed by paparazzi and then posted on the internet for the whole country to laugh at me. Yu Minmin smiled and said, don't worry, this is Black Hawk's territory. There won't be any problems. Mu Firen said, is this Black Eagle's territory? Yu Minmin said, do you think he only owns the majestic clubhouse? Let me tell you, 80% of the venues in B City belong to him. Ah, it's just that the theme is different, the decorations are different, and the facilities are different. Actually, he's the shareholder behind all of them. Okay. Mu Firen really didn't know. Now that she knew, she looked to the side awkwardly. Lin Che said, what's wrong? You haven't reconciled with Black Hawk yet. Mu Firen's expression became even more awkward. She looked to the side, but it couldn't hide the slight blush on her face. What are you talking about? What do you mean reconcile? Actually, these days the two of them had eased up a lot. Black Hawk would come to her place whenever he was free, and she couldn't chase him away once he was there. She could only nudge the sparrow and let him stay inside for a while longer. But she couldn't figure out what she was thinking. It was as if there were two vile people constantly fighting there. One was calling for reconciliation and the other was calling for principles. So the current situation was that, although she was unwilling, she still hadn't gotten rid of that shameless man. God, she really wanted to scream. What happened to Black Hawk being cold-blooded and heartless? Why was he so shameless when it came to her? Li Mingyu stared at Lin Che. What's wrong? Are you in a bad mood? Lin Che said, it's nothing. I'm used to quarreling. I'm just wondering if it's the 7-year itch. You and Gu Jingze can solve the 7-year itch? Why don't I believe it? He usually listens to everything you say. He's afraid of falling down when he holds you in his hands and is afraid of melting when he holds you in his mouth. Lin Che glared at Yu Minmin. You don't even know how despicable he is in private. He's not despicable. He's more despicable in bed. Is it because he's too intense at night and made you angry? Yu Minmin laughed. Get lost. Lin Che picked up a pillow and threw it at him. Outside. When Lin Che and the others arrived, the people of Black Hawk had already discovered them. How could they not recognize Boss's sister, Boss's future wife? Immediately, someone told Black Hawk. Black Hawk was puzzled. Gu Jingze didn't come with them? It was a private gathering with Li Mingyu. Gu Jingze, that jealous person, didn't come. Little did they know that Gu Jingze was still sulking at home. When Gu Xinian came in with his sister, Gu Jingze was still reading. Hey, where's Mom? I don't know, Gu Jingze said angrily. Gu Xinian said to his sister, oh, they quarreled. Let's go play. Don't get involved. He felt like he was being looked down upon by a kid. Gu Jingze looked up and thought for a moment. Then he looked at the empty room. In the end, he felt that there was no one he could contact, so he called Black Hawk. Hey, why did you call me? Did the sun rise from the west? Black Hawk said. Oh, wrong number. I'm hanging up, Gu Jingze said coldly. Sigh, enough. You even called the wrong number. This kind of excuse is already outdated. Tell me, did you quarrel with Lin Che? Yes. It seemed like everyone knew about their quarrel. What's wrong? Gu Jingze asked. Nothing. It's just that Lin Che is with Li Mingyu. Gu Jingze couldn't hold it in anymore. Where is he? In Flourishing City. A moment later, Gu Jingze rushed over. As soon as he entered, he realized he had been tricked. What did he mean by being with Li Mingyu? Then what were the people around them doing? Not to mention the Black Hawk was there as well. Chapter 1345. Heiying saw Gu Jingze walk in with a dark expression on his face. He smiled and waved. You're here. Seeing Gu Jingze glaring at him, he said, oh, right. I hung up before I finished talking. Lin Che, Li Mingyu, and the rest of us are playing together. Gu Jingze gave Heiying a look that said, you're dead meat. Then he saw Lin Che. Lin Che didn't expect him to come. She was already surprised that Heiying came. These people didn't like to join in on the fun. Gu Jingze looked at her silently. Then he found a seat and sat down. Yu Minmin couldn't help but smile when she saw the two of them walking away. They really quarreled. Yu Minmin said, it's rare to see so many people here. Why don't we play a game? What game? Don't tell me it's truth or dare or something. Li Mingyu said in disdain. Yu Minmin said, what's wrong with truth or dare? It's such a traditional game. It must be fun if so many people still like it. Yu Minmin wanted to play dice, but after hearing Li Mingyu's words, she decided to play truth or dare. Come, truth or dare. Whoever loses will either have to drink or choose truth or dare. The few of them came over. The table was already full of alcohol. Li Mingyu asked Heiying for some more. It was his place anyway, so he shouldn't be so stingy. Heiying was very generous. He brought out the best alcohol for everyone. Lin Che held the dice and looked at Gu Jingze. He shook it as if it was his head. Damn you, Gu Jingze. How dare you come here? How dare you throw a tantrum here? I'll kill you. Everyone put down the dice. Lin Che opened it. Oh, God is helping me. She's the biggest. It's a straight. Wow, I'm the biggest. I'm the biggest. The biggest one was in charge of setting the question. The others were all about the same size. Only Gu Jingze's was the smallest. Was it really arranged by the heavens? This is God's will. How dare you, Gu Jingze, anger me as you please. As Lin Che thought to himself, he looked at Gu Jingze with a smug smile. Gu Jingze, do you choose truth or dare now? Tell me the truth. Gu Jingza looked at her deeply as if he wanted to see through her mind. Lin Che laughed and said, "All right, tell me, when was your first time masturbating?" The dignified Gu Jingza had never been asked such a question. Yu Minmin burst out laughing. Lin Che was definitely doing it on purpose. He was deliberately messing with Gu Jingza. However, in this world apart from Lin Che, no one would dare to mess with Gu Jingza like this. Unless he wanted to die. Therefore this was simply a rare scene. Upon seeing this, Yu Minmin hurriedly listened on curiously. Gu Jingza's face was as black as a sheet. She stared at Lin Che only to see Lin Che raise his head proudly. "Good, very good. This woman," he said, "changed to dare. Ah, boring." Lin Che could only shrug and not answer. But, did he think that dare was so easy to pass? Lin Che looked at him with a smile and said, "All right, dare, right? Then I want you to take the initiative to seduce the Black Eagle." This time the Black Eagle burst out laughing too. He looked at Lin Che with a wronged expression and said, "Hey, if you have a grudge against Gu Jingza, don't take it out on me, okay?" Lin Che blinked his eyes and looked at him. "We're just playing a game here. Who has any grievances?" The Black Eagle said, "Then, I am the king now, okay? You have to listen to me. Hurry up, take the initiative." Yu Minmin burst out laughing. She really couldn't help it. Lin Che was really skillful when it came to showing off. How could Gu Jingza be a match for her? She looked at Gu Jingza sympathetically. Gu Jingza, on the other hand, didn't smile at all as he stared at Lin Che. This woman. She really wanted to die. All right, she wanted him to seduce her, right? Gu Jingza suddenly stood up. The Black Eagle was scared out of his wits. Why did Gu Jingza suddenly appear? It can't be for real, right? Gu Jingza walked over with a deep look in his eyes and walked towards the Black Eagle step by step. Hey, Gu Jingza, calm down. I am a normal man, I don't want to be kissed by a man. If you dare to come over, I don't care if you are Gu Jingza or not, I will beat you up. When everyone saw that the dignified Black Hawk had suddenly become so timid, they immediately burst into laughter. Gu Jingza acted as if he didn't hear it and continued to walk forward step by step. The Black Eagle was really scared. He jumped up and wanted to run away without a care in the world. However, at this moment he saw, Gu Jingza suddenly turned around and picked up Lin Che, who was still laughing. The next moment his lips went deep into Lin Che's. No way. Everyone only saw Gu Jingza's hands move very quickly and his tongue had already delved into her mouth skillfully. What a pervert, and his kiss was so obvious. Lin Che didn't have time to react. What was going on? Didn't he want him to kiss the Black Eagle? Why was she the one being kissed? Lin Che was a little dizzy from the kiss and couldn't react for a long time. It wasn't until Gu Jingza slightly loosened his grip that she came back to her senses. She quickly pushed his chest away, but her little face was already red because of what he had just done. Gu Jingza looked at her lovingly, with a blurred sense of sexiness. "Why don't you want to see my body? Annoying, I want to see who would be kissed by you or the Black Eagle." Lin Che was even more furious. Gu Jingza didn't want to waste any more words, and directly carried Lin Che horizontally. Let go of me. What are you doing?" Gu Jingza directly carried her out of the room. No one dared to stop him. They all looked at him and made way for him. As for Lin Che, he was ruthlessly shoved into the washroom. Then she was put down. Gu Jingza put her on the dressing table and looked at her with burning eyes. Lin Che covered her face, not letting him see. "You're so annoying. Let me go back. Who told you to bring me here?" Gu Jingza lowered his head and stared into her eyes, not giving her a chance to look away. "Lin Che, I know that you want to act in that script, but I don't want to see you being intimate with other men. So, you can act in it, but you have to promise me that the bed scenes will be deleted." "What?" Lin Che was stunned. How did the topic change to this? He stared at her seriously and said word by word, "You have to delete it, otherwise I can't accept it." Chapter 1346. Lin Che hadn't expected him to say this suddenly. Could it be because of the bed scene? That was why he had been feeling awkward. Lin Che immediately understood and he also immediately laughed. He was so petty. It was all because of the bed scene. Lin Che didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She looked at Gu Jingza and placed her hands on his cheeks. "I do want to delete it, but it depends on whether it's necessary. If I don't think it's necessary, I'll delete it. There won't be that kind of scene. The reminder about the bed scene is just a reminder. It's not guaranteed to be there. When we discuss the script, we'll discuss whether it's necessary or not. Although many people like to watch it, the story is the most important thing. The quality is the most important. Whether there's a bed scene or not isn't a necessary factor for success. Gu Jingze held her hand. Am I being too stingy? Lin Che shook his head. You don't really understand. Besides, you've never seen my work before. That's right. He deliberately avoided looking at it. She said, actually there are very few intimate scenes in my works. Most of them are just plots. Really? Sigh. So, Gu Jingze looked at her deliberately sighing, smiled and patted her on the head. Don't pretend to be profound here. Gu Jingze thought for a moment and didn't say anything else. Don't play tricks on me again. He carried her down from above. Lin Che snorted. What do you mean by teasing? That's what truth or dare is all about. Gu Jingze lowered his head to her chest. Won't you get jealous when you see me kiss someone else? Aya, how would I know? Why don't you try it with Black Hawk? I'll see if I get jealous. Gu Jingze lowered her lips and kissed her deeply again. As if punishing her, he bit her lips with all his might. Oh, she moaned. Just then someone outside asked, Is there anyone inside? Why is the door closed? Lin Che said, Okay. Let's not waste their time. Let's go. Then Gu Jingze opened the door. The people outside were surprised to see Gu Jingze. Gu Jingze said, Sorry for wasting your time. Can you turn around? My girlfriend is a little embarrassed. These words were somewhat suggestive. Girlfriend, sorry for the delay. What were they doing inside just now? I am so shy. Moreover, the male lead was so handsome. The girls quickly turned their heads away. Okay, we understand. Hurry up and go out. We won't watch it. With such a boyfriend who wouldn't be able to resist. Coming here directly was a little too passionate, but it was understandable. Lin Che listened from behind. What the fuck? What kind of joke is this? Who is embarrassed? Lin Che stood there. He really wanted to kill this man with his eyes, but when he looked at the people around him, he quickly slipped away. He had already said it out loud and there was nothing he could do to change it. Fortunately, they really did not see who she was. It was better to leave quickly. The next day, Lin Che arrived at the company and told Yu Minmin that she had decided to make this TV series after watching it. However, there was a problem. She felt that one company was not enough, so she needed to find another company to work with. Yu Minmin said, That's good. Then let's find a company to work with first. I'm also going to get the casting company to prepare for the casting. Some of their roles were contracted to a casting director, who would pick the roles and work together to save a lot of time. On the other side, the director had already started the project after hearing Yu Minmin's instructions. Because it was a TV series produced by Lin Che's family, many actors were very interested. After discussing many of the roles, they decided to use actors that they were more familiar with. But at this moment, Lin Che suddenly saw that there was a role that had been decided on. However, she had never seen that name before. The name was Zhou Yu. Who was this? She searched for this person online, but she could not find this person. Although it was not an important role, it was still a character. It was strange that such a role had appeared out of nowhere. So she called the director to ask about it. Seeing that it was Lin Che, the director took it seriously. Lin Che immediately asked about the situation. The director said, Don't ask about this. This role is not important anyway. Can't you just give it to someone else? Of course not. I want to know the situation. What's wrong with you? Did an investor put this person in? Oh yeah. It's a role that can't be rejected. What do you mean by can't be rejected? It seemed like there was no one here that couldn't be rejected. Because almost everyone knew that Yu Minmin was the president's wife. Which rich businessman would dare to come here and put on an act? But now the director actually said that there was someone who couldn't be rejected. While Lin Che was still in shock, the director said in a low voice, Someone from the Gu family. Lin Che was depressed. Which Gu family? After Gu Jingze split from the family, there were now two Gu families. Who else could it be? Someone from the Gu family. When outsiders talked about the Gu family, it was the Gu family from Gu Jingze's side. It couldn't be. Gu Jingze had arranged a role for her. Was there a mistake? Lin Che was still in shock when the director continued. The person said that he doesn't care about the role. He just wants to be accepted. I'm just giving him face. I didn't give him any important role. More importantly, I've seen the person but you haven't. Just looking at the photo I can tell that he's extraordinary. He's definitely a good seedling. It's a pity that he's a little too old. If he had been discovered earlier, he would have become famous long ago. He might even be the next Gu Jingyu. I know that this is a high-quality drama, so we can't get someone who can't do it. You haven't seen the photo, but if you have, you will definitely like him. Don't worry about it. A lot of photos are deceptive. This one definitely won't be deceptive. Ah. Lin Che had no choice. He didn't know who from the Gu family would arrange a role for them. Fortunately, the production crew would hold their first gathering soon. They were preparing to start filming on an auspicious day. On the day of the filming, Lin Che went there early. He was curious to see who it was that made such a big deal out of the Gu family to promote him. When they arrived, the opening ceremony was relatively simple. When Lin Che arrived, he first pulled the director aside and said, "That Zhou Yu mentioned, where is he?" "Alright, why are you so interested in him?" Of course he was interested. He was related to the Gu family. Chapter 1347. He'll be here soon. You'll know when you see him later. Trust me, he'll definitely surprise you. Really? Lin Che was a little doubtful. Then someone exclaimed from behind, "Who's that?" "Yeah, he's so handsome. Is he a newcomer? I've never seen him before." Just then the director said, Look, he's here." Lin Che curiously turned his head around. Behind him, a familiar figure was walking over with an indifferent expression. He was indeed a handsome man. Even in a place like the entertainment industry where handsome men were as common as clouds, his looks were enough to stand out. But who could explain why this man looked so much like Gu Jingze? No. It was definitely not just a resemblance. They were made from the same mold. Lin Che was stunned. Her mouth was slightly open and she forgot to close it for a while. Compared to the people behind her who were gasping in shock, she looked even more incredulous. The director thought that she was infatuated with him and couldn't help but feel proud of himself. "What do you think? I told you that I wouldn't lie to you. Look, this talent is even better than the trainees from your company. If we nurture him well, he'll definitely become famous. He'll be the type that millions of girls will be attracted to." The director thought that Lin Che had been hanging around for so many years and was surrounded by people like Gu Jingyu. Yet he was still infatuated with this person. It was clear that he had good taste. Another superstar in the entertainment industry was about to rise from his hands. However, Lin Che had no time to care about the director's thoughts. She was pointing in that direction, almost going crazy. She pointed in that direction and said, You, Gu Jingze. What was he doing? Needless to say, if Gu Jingze wanted to become famous, he could do it in a matter of minutes. Becoming famous would be underestimating him. He could become famous throughout the universe. Not to mention anything else, just look at how Gu Jingyu was neglecting his duties. Whether he wanted to act or not, he was already famous. They were brothers. In terms of talent, Gu Jingze was even more mysterious and unpredictable than Gu Jingyu. It was the kind of temperament that young men and women liked. But when did he become Zhou Yu? Lin Che stared at Gu Jingze in shock. However, Gu Jingze's face was as calm as usual. He looked calm and collected, as if he had automatically shielded himself from the gazes of those infatuated girls around him. He just walked slowly and casually towards them. Wait. When he saw Lin Che's expression, which looked like he had eaten something bad, he faintly and imperceptibly raised the corner of his lips. She said immediately, "All right, go do what you need to do first." She had to ask him what was going on with him. Everyone watched in surprise as Lin Che went up and pulled the man over like a madman. What happened to Lin Che? This man was definitely handsome. But what was Lin Che like? So handsome that she couldn't control herself? That was impossible. Everyone was still confused, but Lin Che's mind was not on it. He didn't care about his image at the moment. He just pulled Gu Jingze to the back where no one was. Gu Jingze lowered his head to look at her. Lin Che said, "What are you doing? What's wrong with you? Why were you're Gu Jingze, right? But why are you here?" Gu Jingze smiled. "What? Are you stupid? You don't even recognize your own husband?" No. It's really you. I can fake my appearance, but I can't fake my voice. I'm not dreaming, am I?" Gu Jingze smiled. "I think you were right last time. I really don't understand this industry." "Huh? Which last time? The time when he didn't want her to take on that role?" She said, "What's wrong?" Gu Jingze said, "Because I don't understand you, I always let my imagination run wild. People are more afraid of things they don't know. So, I think it's necessary for me to develop myself so that I can understand your working process. Then I won't misunderstand you and let my imagination run wild." All right, Gu Mohan was indeed Gu Mohan. He could even come up with such a serious theory on such a matter. But she still couldn't accept it. She stomped her feet and said, "Are you really going to act in a TV show? Are you crazy? What about your company? What about your job? What if people find out about you? Besides, what about the pay? I can't afford to hire you. Who could afford to hire Gu Jingze? That was a sky-high price. Gu Jingze looked at her. I'll leave the company to Qin Hao. If there's anything, he can just come here. Since I'm here, I have the ability to hide my identity. Let's talk about the pay. He approached her gently, his breath lingering on her body as he moved slightly. You can't afford to hire me. What should she do? But you can pay with your body. Shameless. How could an actor say such things to the producer? Lin Che looked at him speechlessly. Gu Jingze said, Okay, look, people are watching. If we don't go over, they will think that we're going to have a baby here. What? What? At this moment, Lin Che seemed to have realized something. She turned around to look. Gosh, what kind of look were those people giving them? The people outside were looking at them in surprise, their eyes almost popping out of their sockets. They wanted to stretch out their ears to hear what they were talking about. Their eyes seemed to be mocking them curiously. It was as if Lin Che had become the epitome of a love-struck fool. She couldn't control herself just because of a handsome newcomer. Oh my, it was all Gu Jingze's fault. Now she couldn't keep her chastity. Her reputation, her image. No matter what, Lin Che quickly coughed and looked at Gu Jingze seriously. Are you sure you want to have fun here? If Gu Jingze was here, it wouldn't be acting. Would be fun. Gu Jingze nodded. Anyway, it's not an important role. I'm here to accompany you. Okay. But Lin Che would probably need a long time to get used to it. She was still in a state of mental breakdown. Her brain was slow to process. Let's go. Let's go. She brought Gu Jingze back first. Lin Che looked at the curious gazes and chuckled. We have the intention to groom this newcomer, so I said a little more. He came too suddenly and gave me a fright. Okay, let's continue with the opening ceremony. Everyone get ready to burn incense. It's going to be past the auspicious hour. People in the industry believed in this. Even those who didn't believe in it treated it as a tradition. So every time the opening ceremony started, they would definitely pray and burn incense. I have a migraine today. I'll update it in the morning. Chapter 1348. As for today's opening ceremony, everyone stared at the man in the middle. He stood next to Lin Che and Lin Che didn't say anything. Usually that position should be where the male lead stood. Even if the male lead didn't come, it should be the position of another important person. But today it was given to him, which made people feel very strange. Plus, he was really handsome. Everyone couldn't help but start discussing who this person was. It looked like Lin Che liked him a lot. Until they reached home. Lin Che looked at Gu Jingze. But you went to act. Do you know how to act? Gu Jingze said, I just stood there and talked. How is that possible? Lin Che said, Come, let me teach you. She sat cross-legged and picked up the script for him to see. Gu Jingze said, You want to teach me how to act? Of course. No matter what, I'm the boss now. I can't just watch you mess it up. Lin Che asked him to pose. He walked over and said, Come, let's try this part. Okay. Gu Jingze smiled and sat down. Read this line first. I, Qian Moli, only wish to live in the countryside. I don't care about the outside world. Within the three realms, no one, no matter what, can disturb my cultivation. The character was a very elegant immortal. The words he said were very magnanimous. So to match his expression, it had to be a magnanimous expression. An impassioned and passionate feeling was the best. It made people feel carefree, empathized, and light-hearted. However, Gu Jingze looked at Lin Che. His gaze was as gentle as flowing water. It made people think of deep love. No, this emotion wasn't right. Lin Che shook his head. Hey, there's something wrong with your gaze. Change it. What's wrong? Gu Jingze said. This man, he's an exalted immortal, a very awesome immortal. He doesn't have any lust or emotions. He just wants to let himself go. Really? That's what I think. What the hell are you thinking? Look at your expression. It's not right. Really? But I feel that I can only look at you like this. Luckily, she wouldn't have any scenes with him in the future. Then let's do the next part. All right. Hey, that's not right. Your movements are too stiff. Isn't it just walking less? He's going to leave with an unyielding and immortal-like aura. Am I not? Absolutely not. Lin Che was finally rendered speechless by Gu Jingze's stiff expression. Gu Jingze, I've decided. It's better for you to stand there and not move. How are we going to act then? What's the point of acting? Just stand there and be the background. Anyway, your face is good enough for people to see. Just sell your face and don't talk. But don't speak. Lin Che nodded his head in satisfaction when he saw him standing there in silence. Sigh, a man who looked like a painting. Seriously, just standing there was already very good looking. There was no need to use words to express it at all. Well, he didn't know how to act anyway. So be it. Lin Che wanted to cry but had no tears. He would have to discuss with the director tomorrow to change his scenes. At this time Lin Che's phone rang saying that Shui Yang was injured abroad. Lin Che asked Gu Jingzi to look at the script while he quickly went out to deal with it. Shui Yang was injured. Moreover, the injury was on his face. When they got the news, the whole company was in a state of panic. How did this happen? How did he get injured? And even his face was injured. Lin Che hurried to ask. Yu Minmin brought Lin Che a photo and said, "It said that it's an explosion scene. He really put in too much effort. He didn't use a stunt double in that scene. He did it all by himself and blew it up. Look at his face." His badly mutilated face was a ghastly sight to behold. What happened? Lin Che's heart was in his throat. It was indescribably painful. Yu Minmin said, "His eyebrows are injured here, the corners of his mouth and ears are also injured. This side of his face is more serious, but the photo is a little scary. Actually, the injury shouldn't be that big, but I think this kind of injury will leave a scar." Lin Che sucked in a breath. An actor's face was still very important. What about his body? Elsewhere. His arm is injured, but it's all superficial. His body is fine, but he's bleeding a lot now. He's recuperating. Lin Che didn't expect that he would work so hard in Hollywood. Yu Minmin said, "He's resting there now. I'm going to go over to take a look." "I'll go," Lin Che said. "With your status, it's too dangerous to go abroad." No matter what, she was the president's wife. It was too dangerous to go abroad. But you just started filming here. If you go away, you might start filming immediately when you come back. How are you going to be so busy? "I'm just going over to make some arrangements. It's just a few days. It's okay." Yu Minmin sighed as she looked at Lin Che. "You're too hardworking." Lin Che smiled. She looked outside. Her paintings and posters were stuck in the corridor of the company. From a small actress to a big star now, so many years had passed. It wasn't that she didn't sigh in her heart. She said, "Although there are times when I feel very tired, very uncomfortable, and really want to give up, I feel that there's no need for me to be so tired. Some people go to the deep mountains and forests, grow flowers and vegetables by themselves, live in seclusion, work at sunrise and rest at sunset, and still live their entire lives without starving to death. Sometimes I also think that I should live such a life, but when I think about it, there are some things that I can't give up, and that is acting and that is fighting. Now, to me, money is just a number. Actually, it doesn't matter how much I earn, but I still like to see these numbers accumulate because this is not the accumulation of money, but the accumulation of my hard work, the accumulation of results." Yu Minmin looked at Lin Che. She felt that Lin Che was indeed different from before. She had improved a lot and it was her own feeling. Her temperament had also become better. Lin Che said, "So no matter how tired I am, I want to persist. Because if I don't act, I don't know what else I can do. Maybe I can be a rich woman, but if I don't act, I don't feel that there's any joy. I feel that what I enjoy now is the joy of acting. The process in between is the most beautiful. Also, the busy process of running a company gives one the most sense of accomplishment. So, you don't have to think that I'm very tired. I'm very tired, but I'm also very happy. I'm so lucky to be able to meet all of you, to be happy together, to be sad together." When Yu Minmin heard this, she slowly hugged Lin Che. "Me too. I'm very happy to fight with all of you. I'm happier than anything else. I think Shui Yang would feel the same way, that's why he works so hard. I'm the same. I chose to write, and work hard. It's very tiring but also very happy. Because of all of you, no matter how busy, how hard, how tired, as long as I'm still in front of the computer, I will persevere. I'm so lucky to be able to walk on this path." Chapter 1349. Lin Che nodded. Her heart ached for Shui Yang. He was such a good boy. She didn't want any changes in her life because of this. A day later, Lin Che flew to Hollywood. The hospital where Shui Yang was staying was quite legal. He had bought insurance before coming, so there was no problem paying for the medical fees. The Hollywood production team was also worried that Shui Yang would ask for more compensation. Before Lin Che arrived, they were already discussing in private. "I don't know if everyone in C is like this. Anyway, I heard that some of the cases are not good. I heard that they ask for a lot of money. How can we do that? Our funds have always been spent on facilities. We don't give much to actors. Hollywood was different from some unscrupulous producers in C country. Most of their funds were spent on technology. However, some production companies in C country claimed to have invested hundreds of millions of dollars, but 90% of it was spent on actors' remuneration. Naturally, the production couldn't keep up. We can only see how the insurance company pays. But their artists' faces are very important. However, when Lin Che arrived, he didn't talk to them about compensation. Shuiyang was still resting inside. When she went in, Shuiyang was eating. The bloody mess on his face was gone. After washing it, he looked much better. However, the scar was still very obvious. Lin Che's heart ached. He walked over quickly. How are you? Are there any other problems? Shuiyang saw that Lin Che had actually come and tried to get up. Sister Che, I'm fine, Lin Che said. All right, don't get up. I'm just here to take a look. Let me see how you are. Lin Che first checked him, then picked up the medical record to read. Although it was in English, she was still able to read it smoothly. There were some words that she didn't know, so she just looked it up. She hadn't lived in America for nothing. After reading it, she frowned. The doctor didn't write it very clearly, but your body should be fine. Shuiyang said, Is my face badly disfigured? Lin Che shook her head. No, don't think too much. It's just a little scar. We'll find a good scar doctor. Just then, someone suddenly came in. Is it Mr. Shuiyang? The person who came was a foreign man in a suit and leather shoes. Lin Che asked suspiciously. Yes, who are you people? Oh, we're here to treat Mr. Shuiyang. Sir, the medical standards here aren't the best in America. I'll take you to the best hospital in America for treatment. Please come with us. Lin Che asked in surprise, Who exactly are you? The man looked at Lin Che and said, Miss Lin, I hope you can trust us. The doctor I found for Mr. Shuiyang will definitely be the best, much better than here. Lin Che looked at the man and said, We can find a doctor ourselves. Although you possess remarkable abilities, this is, after all, our world. We are the ones who are familiar with this place. Thus, trusting us is your best choice. Lin Che paused and looked at the man with a faint smile. All right, I understand. Let's go. The man gave her the feeling that he should know her identity. If he knew her identity, he could still say such words. If he was afraid of her identity, he should not lie in this aspect. Moreover, if there was really a problem, she would also bring people over so she might not lose to him. Shuiyang was still looking at them, not knowing what was going on. But seeing that Lin Che had agreed, he had nothing else to say and immediately agreed. After a while, the people really arrived. A few people came and moved Shuiyang out. The hospital also cooperated with the transfer. The crew was a little surprised. They came in and said, This is the hospital we're working with. Where are you going? Lin Che said, We're going to a better hospital. But that's not the hospital our insurance company is working with. You can't do this. I've heard that you people from country C are like this, but we don't have much money for you to spend like this, really? Hearing that the people from country C were like this, Lin Che was a little depressed. He turned around and looked at the crew. What do you mean? What's going on in country C? The man felt that he had said something wrong. He shouldn't have said that. He spread his hands and said, That's not what I meant. Lin Che laughed coldly. No matter which country you're from, there are good and bad people. It's not like your country doesn't have criminals or people who commit murder and arson. So, please don't use which country to define good and bad people, okay? We will transfer him to another hospital. But from the start, we never said that we would let you spend the money. Shuiyang is from our company. Our company will give him the best treatment. So, you don't have to worry about money. We people from country C are used to protecting our own people. If he's one of us, we'll give him the best. The crew was a little speechless at her words. They looked at her and said, I'm sorry. They didn't expect her to say that Shuiyang didn't need them to spend the money. This was really surprising. It overturned their understanding of the people from country C. Perhaps she was right. There were good and bad people in every country. He was the one who had gauged the heart of a gentleman with his own mean measure. With that, Lin Che followed the crew to the hospital. Before they arrived, they heard someone say, You're very lucky. You're also very good at finding the place. That is the best hospital, especially for injuries like this. Many of their doctors are the most famous in the world. Lin Che wasn't sure why they were able to go there. She looked at Shuiyang and Shuiyang looked back at her. Sister Che, what's going on? Lin Che looked outside through the window of the ambulance. Outside, there were many people clearing the way, making the road extremely smooth. Moreover, those people looked like they were all powerful people. It was obvious that they weren't ordinary people. Lin Che said, I think maybe someone is secretly helping us. What? Lin Che looked at Shui Yang. To be exact, they're secretly helping you. Shui Yang was stunned. A look of disbelief flashed across his face. He thought of it too, but he didn't dare to think about it. He was worried that he was thinking too much. Sister Che, you're saying? Lin Che looked into the distance and smiled. Yes, Abai. Abigail. Is it true? Is it her? Shui Yang looked outside quietly, a little excitement surging in his eyes. But, after a while he looked down again. No, he hadn't achieved much yet. He didn't know how to face her now. But in his heart, he couldn't help but wonder if he could see her again. You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.